Alrighty, good afternoon here. I am Ryan alongside Caleb as well as Joel in the background. We are breaking into severe weather coverage this afternoon. We have our first severe thunderstorm warning of the day here. It's going to be up in the Tri-Cities area, Zilwaukee, Saginaw, Frankenmuth area. It's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail. The storm is coming out of Bay City. It has a pretty decent hail core on it, and hence why Detroit decided to slap a warning on this. Now, before we dive in headfirst into our coverage, I want to first mention the Detroit radar is still down. It will not be back online until Monday. So we're going to have no radar today in the southeast Michigan area that is close. We have the Grand Rapids radar, we have Gaylord, we also have the Canadian radar as well to use, but nothing close by. So we're going to get pretty upper level scans today that aren't going to really help the cause or the case for today here. So the text of the warning here says a severe warning in effect here for southwestern Tuscola County, southeastern Bay County, and eastern Saginaw County until 1 p.m. So about 40 minutes on the warning here. It was located near Reese, moving southeast at 30 miles per hour. The hazard is 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. The source on that is radar indicated. The storm will be near Frankenmuth, Vassar, and Reese around 12:20, Millington around 12:30, and Mayville around 12:45. Other locations include Foster's, Arthur, Carrollton, Tuscola, Burt, Buena Vista Township, Jura, Indiantown, Richville, and Fostoria. For your protection, move into your spot of a building on the lowest floor if you possibly can. This storm between Zilwaukee and Reese right now, and missing Saginaw, what appears to be to the east here, but is heading right for our camera in Frankenmuth, courtesy of Jan's Professional Dry Cleaners. I'll go ahead and get that pulled up here. On screen share that. There we go. I got the weather cameras pulled up. We're going to toggle these back and forth here. There's your view facing due north in Frankenmuth, courtesy of Jan's Professional Dry Cleaners here. We'll keep a close eye on how this camera is looking here in the next couple of minutes, as we do have several cameras out ahead of this storm here. So we'll have a good view of things as it rolls to the south and east. Zooming out though, looking at the Canadian radar, couple pop-up cells here over by Port Sanilac that are also statemented here, impacting Carsonville, Applegate areas, Port Sanilac. This is going to be for penny-size hail and 40-mile-per-hour winds. Penny-size hail and 40-mile-per-hour winds. Also a nice cluster of storms here down here by North Branch, Imlay City. This is moving to the east-southeast here at roughly 30 to 40 miles per hour throughout the day today. So this is likely the start of probably several hours of severe coverage, I have to imagine here, unless something dramatically changes with the forecast. We do expect a severe threat to continue all throughout the afternoon, clearing the state probably around 4 or 5 or so around that time frame, as these storms will exit into Ohio and into Indiana. West side of the state currently, nothing in the Grand Rapids metro area. We do have a couple showers and storms down here in Berrien County by Berrien Springs, Dowagiac, Stevensville area. These are not statemented or severe warned for anything right now, but worth keeping an eye on here if you live down in Berrien and Cass counties. So this warning includes Frankenmuth, Millington, Juanita, Mayville, Fostoria, Birch Run, as well as Bridgeport areas. The worst part of this storm is going to be moving toward Vassar along M15, as well as Frankenmuth, M83 area. Checking out the chat here, there is a lot of instability today. The wind shear is, I'm not going to say on the weaker side, but the wind shear is, it's not as high as what we want to see, but it does support severe weather. The risk today primarily is for damaging wind because there's a lot of downdraft cape out there, which is basically what you need fuel for microburst and downdrafts out of thunderstorms. All that heavy rain hits the ground, spreads outward. D-cape is what aids in that microburst threat. So wind is primary concern today. Hail, secondary concern. We cannot rule out anything tornadic. However, with the Detroit radar down, we're probably not going to see rotation very well on these storms. So viewer reports like you guys and also our storm chasers like up in the top left there, Ben, are going to come in handy today. The air quality, I see a lot of questions about the air quality in here. The rain today is not really going to help that much. The air quality alert has been extended, I think, for the entire state. Joel, correct me if I'm wrong. The entire state, I believe, has that air quality alert through the end of the day today. Probably going to be extended into tomorrow as well, perhaps Monday as well. It's just going to be a repeat basically over and over. The smoke may not be as thick as yesterday or 2 days ago, but we are still going to have impacted air quality as the toxins, so to speak, remain in the atmosphere.
Yep, they just actually extended the air quality alert through the entire day on Sunday as of, I think it was 12:11. They sent that out. It's about 15 minutes ago.
Yep. So no real change expected with the rain here today. If you get rain, it's not going to really impact the air quality much. The only warning currently in the state is for the Frankenmuth area. There is no other warnings currently in effect. There's only one right now. If you're north of Mount Pleasant, there really isn't much concern at all today for rain or storms at all. It should just be primarily south of US 10 today with the current situation, really south of M46 once these storms clear. The models did also show better coverage of storms today over around the southeast side of the state. So the Thumb region back down through Ann Arbor. That's where we expect the most storms today. Obviously, though, we do have more storms popping up. We have a couple of little blips here popping up near Fowler. Also, we have that cluster down here in Berrien County. So we do have other storms, but primarily severe threat, I think, will be tied, again, primarily, not only, but primarily to the southeast Michigan. If you're downstream of this cell in Otisville, also Lapeer and North Branch areas, you guys have a bit before it gets to you. No warning in effect there for Lapeer County yet, but if there is a downstream warning issued, it would be for Lapeer County. No problem, guys. Appreciate it. We'll be live here. Why don't you guys say something, please?
Hello.
Okay, cool. I just want to check the audio coming through. I didn't know if I changed it over yet, but I did, so we're good. We do have a couple cameras in Lapeer County. Also, we have one in Burton. So we do have a few things to go look at here. Do we have the north cam up yet? I don't think we do. Not yet. Okay. Believe we have a new Burton camera coming here. It faces north at some point today or soon. Have to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, we're watching the Frankenmuth cell move in here into Frankenmuth, courtesy of Jan's Professional Dry Cleaners here. You can start seeing the leading edge of that storm. A little bit of a shelf cloud there as well that is moving in. So it's a nice view here. Also got Ben live with us. We'll take him full here. I'm not sure where he's at. In fact, let me reach him here real quick. Ben, where are you currently at? Not sure if you can hear us or not, but we'll get it.
You guys trying to get hold of me?
Yeah, what's your location?
I'm in Athens, Michigan right now.
Okay, so he's over in Athens on the southwest side.
SpotterDot should be on, but I'm in Athens. I'm going to be following these storms throughout the afternoon.
Copy that. On your screen currently, over in southeast Michigan. This will be your camera to watch your next 5 or 10 minutes. A good shelf cloud there on the leading edge. Probably some gusty winds pushing out there. We're going to see just how strong these winds are here. If I take you guys back to the radar, you're going to see here in the Frankenmuth area, Jan's Dry Cleaners is going to get impacted here by this storm. It's going to be almost a dead direct hit. I think the core of this may miss just to the north. But we're still going to get on the back side of that storm here. So we're going to see just how windy this actually is. And again, shelf clouds are harmless. They do not produce tornadoes. They can indicate gusty winds. Otherwise, they're just photogenic and usually harmless.
SpotterDot is also on.
Get my radio plugged in here. Go. copy. So what a shelf cloud is, basically rain-cooled air getting condensed and forced up and out from a thunderstorm, takes on a raggedy look to the cloud base, and it's usually in an elongated fashion. So you're starting to see one develop here. It's a very thin one. But you can start seeing it here where my mouse is. This is what you call the shelf of a thunderstorm. So we'll take a peek here at velocity on the radar here. But we're probably not going to see much here just because we are several thousand feet off the ground with our radar beam height. And there's not much happening here that I could really point out besides perhaps a downburst there with some perhaps hail falling, but there's just not much here I can tell you guys if things are rotating or where strong winds are actually at. I can guess, but it's not going to be definitive today.
Yeah, they give you guys a little bit of a heads up kind of where we're at radar-wise. So the way radar sites work is they're already coming off the tower at an angle. So the farther away you are from the radar site itself, the higher that radar beam is, the higher the cross-section is. With the National Weather Service in Detroit, that radar site down currently, the lowest level we're going to be able to see in this storm is about 8,000 to 10,000 feet in this area here. We can't really see anything below that. So if there is any, surface spin below 10,000 feet, we're really not going to be able to see it on radar today unless it's higher up in the mid-levels. So, and that goes for straight line winds as well. Any downburst potential is going to be more difficult to spot that on radar because we can't get a good look at it below about 8,000 feet today. It'll get a little bit better the further south these storms go. There's an airport radar, but it has a really significantly shorter range than what the National Weather Service's radar does. So as these storms get towards the Fenton area, maybe a little bit further south, we'll be able to look at the surface of these storms a little bit better. But for right now, we're having to use the National Weather Service's radar and Grand Rapids and also Canada's radar as well, just across Lake Huron. But still, with a combination of those radars, we're still only able to see about as low as 8,000 feet today. So a little bit of data missing today, but it's okay. It's not a complete radar gap. We still know the storms are occurring, and we can still get some data, just not as good as what we typically could in this area. So we're not completely blind today, but we're just limited on exact details.
We also have over 40 weather cameras across Southeast Michigan here as well. Also have chasers who plan to go out. So we're going to have eyes on the ground no matter where we're at here in the state. Like we had that camera up in Frankenmuth that I'm currently looking at here too. I'll switch it back over here. We have eyes on these storms, and we can easily tell what these storms are doing here. So just another advantage here of weather cameras. When radars are down, where technology fails, cameras can help. Does the Flint Airport have weather radar? The answer is no. If they do have one, it's not publicly known. Looks like, there it goes. Winds are fairly calm here in Frankenmuth. And they're just now starting to pick up here. So underneath the shelf cloud, you're going to see that whale's mouth feature on the left side of your screen. That's very turbulent. New update to the warning, they went ahead and canceled Bay County and continued on with Saginaw and Tuscola. So basically just trimmed it back out of Bay County. So if you're in Bay County, all clear. And this is actually pretty gusty.
Very strong winds now on the cam. Very strong.
Yep. Pretty gusty here. Looks like at very least 40. If not a little bit higher
really
than
nice
that.
whale's mouth feature there, that extended shelf cloud.
Yep.
Giving you a unique look on the underside there. Kind of cool to see that. A lot of billowing motion underneath that, a lot of rolling motion as cold air descends out ahead of the storm. Likely feel the air temperature drop as well underneath this storm. May drop by 10 degrees or so.
Yeah, it's going to feel really nice for those of you who don't like the hot weather.
It will. Yeah.
Looks like some dust getting kicked out there too. I'm trying to get the camera to load fluently. There it goes. Yeah, pretty gusty here. Also a little choppy with the camera. I'm not sure what kind of internet they have there at the site, but I assume it's probably fiber. But yeah, pretty gusty. Copy. Kind of curious to see how strong these winds get here as soon as the rain hits. Joel, let me know what you think about the rotation side of things with the storm. I'm looking on the lowest scan here. Looks like there could be a little bit there, but again, kind of hard to tell. I don't know if you have GR2 pulled up or not.
Yeah, it's just too far away to make a conclusive decision there. It definitely is some mid-level rotation, but for the most part, it is not mixing to the ground that we know of. And as we saw with the clouds passing by, those look more outflowish than anything.
Yeah. Yep. Our
Maybe a
next-
little side lobe too, a little bit.
Yeah. Our next camera downstream of Frankenmuth. We'll go and pull up the map here so I'm not missing anything. I believe it's going to be Lapeer County or Burton, one of the two. Yeah, it's going to be Lapeer or Burton, one of the two there. Still pretty gusty there. Prolonged. Go back to the radar here. This is going to be in Frankenmuth where the camera is currently. You can see the rain coming into town here in a matter of about probably 2 or 3 minutes. The radar currently looks like it's pretty much in line there. Perhaps a cell merger about to happen. Maybe not. Running parallel to each other, but looks like some development to the west may try to form a line here as it heads toward the Flint area and Lapeer area. Is the Lapeer camera down?
Still running for me.
I don't have it. There it is. I found it.
Oh,
Get that
here,
pulled up
got
and
it.
run. Get a good look at that here coming soon. All right. Oh, there's Joel. Wave hi to Joel, everybody. Millington is on deck here. I was told that this is not Juanita, but it's Junie, or you know what? Pronunciation guide. I'm not going to fight with you guys over this. I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out now and just stick with it.
Mesoscale discussion coming in.
Thank you for that.
Watch probability 60%.
You want to go ahead and post that? One of the two of you?
Yep, I got it.
Thank you.
Junietta.
Okay, so it's Junietta. All right. Well, the reason I went to that pronunciation, guys, because I saw like 5 different pronunciations in chat. We're just not going to do that today. Zooming out here, taking a look back at the west side of Michigan. In fact, there's actually a new statement I missed that popped in here. I guess I didn't miss it. I remember popping in, just didn't cover it. This is going to include all the way to the office in Three Rivers, Constantine, Cassopolis, Pokagon, or Pokagon. Is it Pokagon? Pokagon, isn't it?
Yes.
Pretty sure it is. Trying to remember all these names that you guys have corrected us over the years. But this is going to be a statement in effect here for 40-mile-per-hour winds. There's no hail on that statement, so just winds.
Yep. And it looks like we may even have a severe thunderstorm watch coming potentially. Storm Prediction Center has a 60% watch probability for southeast lower Michigan and south of 94 across southwest Michigan.
Yeah, so really only concern today, it doesn't include Grand Rapids. It doesn't
Does not.
It includes, like, it's kind of splits Lansing basically on a line from Sandusky to Lansing to Kalamazoo. Joel's in the process of posting that to the page here. So if you guys want to see that for yourself, just go ahead and go to the page here in a matter of a minute or two. It'll be posted. The Canadian radar and also Grand Rapids radar shows if any hail is going to be falling, it's going to be just north of Tuscola here, west of Vassar, heading toward Millington. It's going to be on Frankenmuth Road at Atkins Road. Also, the MD just popped in on my screen. It's going to be right there, that red shaded area. That's what they're highlighting here. Potential severe thunderstorm watch being issued. It is a 60% chance of issuance. So there's a chance it may not be, but more odds it is than isn't. Joel, is your radar sharing by chance?
It is not, no.
Okay.
Do you need it?
I was going to try and down some lunch here quick before you hopped out.
I have mine sharing too. It's up to you.
Okay, I just didn't know if you're done with catching up with the comments. There.
Yeah, I just finished the messenger there.
Okay, I'll take Caleb then.
Okay.
I'm going to try and down some lunch real quick.
All right. Currently the only severe thunderstorm warnings in the Thumb region. Winds up to 60 miles per hour, quarter-size sail. Movement is pretty slow, moving southeast at 30 miles per hour. The core of the storm is going to be coming just north of Tuscola, coming near the Millington area along M15. Could have some gusty winds moving through this Tuscola area right now, coming right up to M15. Just northwest of Millington. And we do have that special weather statement over the Dowagiac area, southwest lower Michigan. Winds up to 40 miles per hour. That'll eventually move towards Elkhart County and St. Joseph County in Indiana. A few other isolated showers are starting to pop up here around the Lansing area and Flint area. Currently not strong or severe at this time, but we'll keep an eye on them. Currently, our only severe thunderstorm warning is in the Saginaw area. The Saginaw itself, you guys are in the clear. Same thing with Fairgrove. This area is starting to intrigue me a little bit more on the Tuscola area, Joel. At least maybe a downburst, perhaps. Kind of inconclusive there, but could have some gustier winds reaching down to the ground there, coming into the Millington area.
Yep.
Again, we're looking at the mid-levels of the storm between 8 and 10,000 feet. So we're pretty high off the ground here. So it may be showing some stronger winds aloft, but we just don't have a super clear indication of what is going on at the surface. Thankfully, we do have some weather cameras in the area and some spotters and chasers in the area as well. Hopefully, we can get some more views of this storm. Special weather statement for the Sandusky area is about ready to expire, as that storm is now moving offshore into Lake Huron. Areas up on deck for this storm would be in the Lapeer area along I-69. These storms are moving pretty slow today, only moving at about 30 miles per hour. So maybe a little bit before it gets to the Lapeer area. but do keep an eye on these storms as they are heading your direction along a cold front as it's sagging south here today. And bring some much cooler temperatures here tonight as well across the state of Michigan. It'll feel quite pleasant tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, the velocity data is right in between our two radar sites in Cassett and Grand Rapids, so not really getting good ground truth at the current time for the wind at the surface in the Vassar region. It's heading south towards Millington at the current time. But yeah, that would be where the strongest of the winds are at.
Kind of splitting right smack in the middle between Millington, Tuscola, and Vassar. Kind of sitting right in there, coming up to M15. The M15 corridor here, just north of Birch Run Road, is where we're looking at here, just to the east of Frankenmuth, about, maybe 6 miles or so east of Frankenmuth, where the core of the storm is, at least where the strongest core is. Could have hail up the quarter size as well, mixing down to the ground. If you guys have any hail reports, feel free to let us know. Or what the winds are doing if you guys are watching from this area as well. Any reports would be appreciated. If you can do so safely, if the storm is coming, we do encourage you to take shelter until the storm has passed. But if you do have any hail reports thereafter, would love to know what your hail sizes are with the storm, if you can do so safely. Currently, the strongest winds are coming into the Millington area just outside of town, getting ready to cross M15 just north of Otisville. It'll be coming near the Fostoria area as well as Mayville. It may go just to the south of Mayville, but Millington and Otter Lake on deck for this storm. Winds up to 60 miles per hour, quarter-size hail. Strongest winds just to the east and southeast of Tuscola and Frankenmuth. Getting ready to come up and across M15.
Also to note, we have a couple outages that have popped up previously from this storm. We have a couple in Saginaw County, 32 outages. We also have one in Tuscola. Genesee County, not arrived on the storms yet, but we're going to start off with about 360 customers out. So if you get that raises up.
Likely an indication that at least some of the winds are mixing their way down to the ground, so there are some strong winds occurring with this storm, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour.
Ryan, you just mentioned that trim?
What?
The trim for the severe thunderstorm warning, they bumped it out of non-severe, or bumped it down to non-severe hail.
Okay, yeah, I just got the update from IAM, so. Just a wind threat they're going with here, and I think I would agree with that. I really do. Looking at the upper levels of the atmosphere with hail, you can get a good idea for what the hail size is actually doing with the storms. You go up in height, I mean, there's not that much of a core on this storm that I'm seeing off of the Grand Rapids radar. I mean, there's a couple, there's a little pocket there of about 22,000 feet. You got 60 dBz there between Millington and Vassar, but
yeah, I would agree with you there.
I think they're definitely in their means there for going with the wind.
Yeah.
Also,
Can't rule
looking
out
at
some
that-
small hail up to penny size.
Yeah. But looking at the wind velocity here, with the camera in Frankenmuth, the winds were pretty strong before the rain arrived here. So that also could indicate it could be outflow dominant as well. So we'll see. If you guys have reports
something to
of-
note in the Frankenmuth area, the core actually went just to the north and kind of ran parallel just above Frankenmuth too, kind of right on the edge.
We'll have to keep an eye on this, the outages for sure. If you guys have reports of damage via tree limbs down or even just hail, feel free to message that into the page. Caleb and I, as well as Joel for the time being. I think Joel's about to hop out of here though, but Caleb and I will be here throughout the afternoon looking at the messenger and keeping up to date with things. So if you guys have reports of damage, feel free to send that in to us so we can verify if these storms are actually doing anything, or if they're just kind of garden variety, so to speak, in nature. So would appreciate your reports, especially with radar being down. Your reports today are going to come in handy. Getting a little bit of an interesting look by Millington there.
Yeah, inconclusive for sure. I mean, keep in mind we are looking at the mid levels of the storm, but between 8 and 10,000 feet, so we're looking pretty high up. But there appears to be maybe some mid level rotation, but it's quite broad. Nothing that really indicates anything tornadic at this point in time, at least on the surface. Unfortunately, we don't really have any low level data to go off of there. But I would have to assume there are at least some gusty winds coming down to the ground, up to 60 miles per hour there, coming over the Millington area. If you're in the Fostoria, Otter Lake, Columbiaville, perhaps M24 corridor, M90, heads up, could have some gusty winds coming your way. North Branch, have to keep an eye on you. Clifford, I think it's going to go just to the south of your area. But if you're in the Lapeer area, Columbiaville, Otter Lake, Fostoria could have some gusty winds, perhaps strong, heading your way up to 60 miles per hour, and even some small hail. I think probably between peas and penny size, heading in your direction. Strongest winds coming over Millington right now, M15, and heading towards Fostoria and Otter Lake. And the storm is moving off to the south, southeast at 30 miles per hour. Not moving super fast here today.
I would also like to bring up, we're about to outrun this polygon here on the leading edge, so perhaps a downstream statement or a warning coming in for Genesee and Lapeer counties. We'll see if DTX does anything with it. And again, that warning was downgraded just for the wind side of things. So hail should be below quarter size if hail is occurring. It's just kind of a unfortunate situation. We don't have any low-level scans here we can look at for the rotation side of things. This is heading right for two of our cameras, though. We have the Deerfield Township Fire Cam. We also have the three-dimensional urgent designs in Lapeer County. We can look at the storm as it crosses in to the area. But right now, none of those cameras have a good look at it for the time being, but they will when it gets closer. Zooming out here, taking a peek. If you're back over here on the southwest side of the state, statement continues for these storms in the Cassopolis area, Niles area as well. This is going to be a statement for 40-mile-per-hour winds. Not really seeing much there that really indicates anything significant happening. This is heading eventually toward Constantine. It should miss Three Rivers to the south. Could have a couple pop-up showers developing, impact you guys there, but the bulk of the heavier rain here is moving south of Three Rivers. Also, new update to that warning. They went ahead and added the tag on it for a possible tornado for the Frankenmuth here. So a new update here for Millington area, Fostoria area. They had added the possible tag on it for a tornado, kept it below severe hail, and they kept the wind at 60. So tag on that now for a possible tornado. And that kind of lines up with what we're kind of seeing here. Looking at this green and red here, this area. Again, this is not a good clean slice of things because we're looking probably 10,000 feet in the atmosphere, I had to guess. But it's just going to be kind of hard to tell what's going on here. So ground truth is important. But there's some green and red coming together here that may indicate some rotation trying to develop here throughout the mid-levels. And we're just not able to see what's happening at the low levels right now.
Yeah, currently the strongest portion of the storm is going to go pretty close to the Otter Lake area as well as Fostoria. We'll have to see if we get a downstream warning for Lapeer County. Genesee County, we may get a warning, but if we do, it'll probably be for extreme portions of northeast Genesee County. If one gets issued downstream, we'll have to see what the National Weather Service deems there. They may just ultimately skip Genesee and issue for Lapeer, but we'll just have to see how far south it's able to come.
Downstream, as Caleb was talking about, Otter Lake, Fostoria, upline next. There's also Otisville, Columbiaville, North Branch, Lapeer proper, Alba. And if it does scoot into North Genesee County, we're looking at areas like Davison, perhaps just north of Davison, and Otisville is really the main population center up there. Perhaps Mount Morris getting brushed there, but a motion on this probably will bring it to Otisville, but mostly stay in Lapeer County. Any of our chasers
I'm
in
getting a radar
Southeast
update out for you
Michigan
guys, by the way.
chasing currently? Sounds good, Joel. Copy. If you have your camera on, let me know. I'll get you on screen.
It looks to be more of a gust front right now, Ryan. Coming into Otisville, maybe a little bit more of a downburst kind of look to it now, as it's coming into northwestern Lapeer County.
I'll take a look from the Cassett radar here. See if we get any better data. Probably not, but yeah, not really much. I know the Gaylord radar also had that kind of look to it, and it still kind of does there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Grand Rapids radar is closest, our best bet at least. Looking at this, it's heading into Lapeer County as we speak. Otter Lake, Fostoria, probably getting pretty gusty there. Columbiaville's on deck here, Otisville on deck, North Branch on deck as well. Maybe we get the Lapeer Township fire cam pulled up, or Lapeer County, Deerfield Township fire. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, you can start to see that come into view on the right side of the screen. It'll be under Deerfield Township.
Yep. Yep, I got it. That'll be the next cam here. Also got the Lapeer cam, so I think the camera here in Deerfield Township fire here, this area, facing south-southwest. You're looking at the storm on the right side of the screen, moving into the camera view here. This will be our first cam on deck here. Once we get into Lapeer County and down, we're going to have a lot of cameras to look at here as the storm moves south-southeast. I'm also a little bit surprised there's not a statement or a warning issued yet for Lapeer and probably Northeast Genesee too. Looking at the hail tracker, just out of curiosity, yeah, not much signal there for, you know, a large hail. There's a little bit of a signal there between Frankenmuth and Vassar, but Millington would be on deck for that. What's the official pronunciation of that? Go ahead, Joe.
That one, by the way, is Vassar.
Vassar. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. I was about
You
to
got it.
click on it here on the pronunciation guide, but you got it. This is
Or you
only
can just have Caleb try to say it first, and then everyone will let you know.
I don't know if you saw, Joel, but we had Caleb try to say Topinubby as well as Pinconning last
Yeah, I
stream.
did see that clip. The official pronunciation is Topinabee.
Oh, yeah, so we were both wrong.
You're
Yes.
both wrong?
I
Yep.
give up. I give up at this point.
The Pinabee is spoken fast.
I give up.
Topinabee. Yep.
Hmm.
That's why I put a PSA out on my personal Facebook account asking for help with that. And somebody actually pulled through with the voice pronunciation of it.
That's not what the
Yeah, I would have
pronunciation guide says.
I thought it almost sounded kind of Scottish, like it was from the Highlands, you know?
The upper level rotation is still pretty strong there. We just can't see what's closer to the ground. For the storm up in the Millington area.
Yeah, I'm just kind of bouncing around here looking at the radar. If I go up in height with this, I guess I can't. Also, seems like this storm has slowed down just a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Seems like it at least. They
I
upgraded
mean,
the
30
text of
miles
us.
per hour is not fast anyway.
Yeah, they upgraded to 35. We are now warning free officially at 1 o'clock here, so we'll see if they issue a new warning. I would assume they would, at least a statement. But we'll probably have a termination here within a few seconds. It's like a waiting game. What's going to come across? There you go.
And there we go.
Ben,
I
stay
can
with
get
us
that.
here on Michigan, please. This is going to be a new warning coming in for Genesee, Lapeer, and Tuscola counties. It's going to be stay on this channel here for now.
I got the graphic getting posted right now.
Thank you, Joel. New polygon here does include the northeast corner of Genesee, most all of Lapeer, and the very far south corner of Tuscola. 60-mile-per-hour winds, less than penny-size hail, and the tag is on it for a possible tornado. This is going to include Otisville, Davison, Hadley, Metamora, Almont, Imlay City, Goodland, Attica, North Branch, Burnside, M24, I-69, M53, big cities or big arteries there in this warning. Moving southeast, the text of the warning says moving southeast at 25, so it did kind of slow down. I thought it was. Places include, in fact, I think we have a watch coming in now. If not for us, then somewhere. Just saw it get issued. But Columbiaville near 105, Lapeer 110, Lum around 125, Imlay City, Dryden, and Metamora around 135, Almont around 145. Other locations: Goodland Township, Burnside, Attica, Elba, Tuscola, Thetford Township, Kings Mill, Thornville, Fostoria, and Genesee. People attending Mayville Sunflower Festival should seek safe shelter immediately. So interior building away from windows on the lowest floor of your house is what's recommended. Again, this is a 60-mile-per-hour wind threat. Also cannot rule out a tornado with this. There is what appears to be some rotation here. We're not really sure if that's on the ground, if it's in the low levels, but it's in the upper levels. When I say on the ground, I'm not talking a tornado. I'm talking like the rotation itself. The radar beam height is shooting very far, about 10,000 feet up in the atmosphere here. We're not getting a clean surface slice, so to speak, of the radar here. So we're kind of relying on our weather cameras, storm spotters, and the public reports for anything rotation-wise on the lowest levels here. So that yellow polygon on your screen is the warning. That's the only current warning in the state of Michigan. It appears that watch I mentioned about a minute ago is not for Michigan. I'm not sure where it is, but I had it come across twice, so I thought it was being issued for for Michigan, but I guess not.
Yeah, it looks like the Toledo area in Ohio.
Interesting. Did they forgo Michigan's for now?
I don't know. MD is still in place. My guess is they're just watching trends.
You know, and I'll say this as well. If we keep just this small cluster of storms, they may not issue a watch because it's a small area being affected here. Doesn't mean that they're not expecting severe weather, but usually for a severe watch or a tornado watch in that case too, they want to see a large area of population being impacted. This is a pretty small cluster of storms impacting 1 to 2 counties at a time. So it's fairly small scale. It's still impactful, but still small scale. New statement coming in that appears for the Croswell, Sandusky, and Marlette areas. So this storm over here, not warned, but they went ahead and statemented it, probably for, I'm going to guess, wind and penny-sized hail. We'll see what that pops in as. But you'll see that here shortly.
It's like 40 and a half.
Okay. The Cassett radar probably has a better slice on those storms than the Grand Rapids radar. Could be some wind there by Clifford, Marlette, and
strongest winds.
Kingston. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Looking at the
to the
Cass-
northeast of Mayville.
Yep. So we're kind of seeing here where these little pockets of the gray. Whoops, wrong thing. Little pockets here that kind of fill in. That could indicate some gustier winds happening via downburst that I'm seeing here. But again, this Casset radar is still thousands of feet in the atmosphere here. So. Well, there's your statement popping in there, the TAM box. 40 mile per hour winds and half-inch hail, as Joel mentioned here. So includes Croswell, Peck, Melvin, Brown City, Kingston, Forrester, Port Sanilac, and Carsonville areas.
Lisa, there is not a severe thunderstorm warning in Three Rivers. That is a special weather statement.
In fact, that should be expired now.
It is expired, yeah.
Is IWX, there it goes. Let's say, is IWX down?
Actually, I don't even know if Three Rivers was in that. I guess they were barely in that statement.
Yeah, there's nothing severe down here. The velocity on this appears to be quite weak in nature. Heavy rain, some lightning, maybe some gustier winds mixed within that blob, but there's nothing there that stands out to me that screams severe weather is occurring there. Outage map is now up to 6,700 customers. We have 0 in Tuscola, 0 in Lapeer, no change at all to any of these. So it looks like if there is wind, it's not strong enough to be creating power outages at the current time here. So far, so good. The lowest beam height that I see, 10,500 feet. Taking a look back here at the, I'm getting a bad echo somewhere.
I am getting an echo too, yeah. I don't know what you changed.
I don't know what happened. Okay.
It might be me. I am changing audio levels around. Hang on my end.
Copy. So looks like the Deerfield Township fire cam here, courtesy of Tim Reinhardt in Southline. But it was looking at the storm rolling in there. And it's back, I think. There it is. Getting some rain there. The worst of the storm still packed off to the right of the camera. Also pull out the Lapeer camera. There's your storm rolling in.
What is going? Why is it going all the way to the left?
I didn't do anything.
I did that the last time you joined in too.
I'm not doing anything to it.
Because I joined into that camera and I noticed it was all the way left as well.
All right.
So I changed it back. And then you came in and it went all the way back to left again.
I didn't touch it.
It must be trying to find the deer.
I am never going to live that down. Never going to live that down.
I do have to go, but before I do, I want to shout out over on YouTube, Carrie P for month number 17, plus Jackie, Oddwell,
Dane, Didi, Tangi, and Didi again for setting Jules. Thank you guys very much. Just in case you didn't have the YouTube chat open there, Ryan. That is
I
all
do
caught up.
not. So thank you. I do not have that.
Yep.
But appreciate Joel hopping in here for the almost hour we've been live here. He's got plans to attend to. So it'll be me primarily, as well as Caleb helping out in the background. So wave hi or wave bye to Joel. If you're new to MSC, Caleb is our Indiana guy. You probably don't know him or see him often. He is Indiana. That's who's below me currently. He is Caleb, and he is helping out on the Michigan side of things today. So with that said, goodbye, Joel.
Bye.
We have a new statement coming in for Cass and St. Joseph counties until 1:45 p.m. We'll come back to this camera here. Back down to the south here. I'm going to assume they're probably going to statement it here for 30 or 40 mile per hour winds. Maybe pea-size hail. The gustiest of winds appears to be in North Indiana now near Simonton Lake, Bristol, Elkhart areas here. We do have a Mishawaka cam we can pull up. That's wrong direction, but looks like the Michigan side of things here is looking fairly tame. A lot of heavy rain, some lightning there, but that's about all I'm seeing. I think the more interesting stuff is happening up here. This is going to be courtesy of Three Dimensional Services Group in Lapeer County, or Lapeer, Michigan, actually, in Lapeer County. Velocity on these storms does not really impress me much. There's a little bit of a signature here around the Otter Lake, Fostoria, Clifford, and Marlette areas for some gustier winds. Otherwise, it's hard to tell. Like I said 15 times before, the radar beam height today is not going to help us because Detroit is down. We're using Grand Rapids or Canada's radar. There's no help today from the Detroit Pontiac radar. The good news, though, we have a visual on that cell here. Looking straight at it on the camera. We'll come back to that once it gets closer. In the meantime, your radar here currently, if you're north of Mount Pleasant or even the Tri-Cities at this point, you should be all clear for the day. These storms are primarily raining pretty localized in nature for the Thumb region. There's a couple little blips trying to pop up near Eureka, Maple Rapids area, but so far they've been unsuccessful. So if those remain blips, which they may, we may be looking at a very compact, severe threat today for the Thumb region. We'll see. If you're in Grand Rapids or Lansing, I think your threat at this point for, I can't say Lansing's out of the wood, but Grand Rapids for sure is on the lower end of things. Lansing could still have a pop-up or two, especially if these little blips get going. I can't rule that out entirely, but for now and for the time being, looks like the Thumb region is going to be the rain lottery winner for the day, as well as storm lottery winner. There's actually a little, I'm going to say there's two parts of the storm here. There's one little blip out ahead of this, like right here. That's the wrong thing, Ryan. Come on. Right here. There's also the core of this is kind of back here too. So 1 to 2 parts of the storm looking looking like it's going to travel over the same areas here. So we could be looking at some heavier rainfall too, especially with the slower storm speeds.
Yeah, it almost looks like that storm maybe even split Ryan a little bit too,
Yeah, that's what it's looking like to me as well.
with the northern half slowing down. Maybe if you're in the Millington area, with how slow these storms are moving, with more rain back building, I would watch out for some ponding as well. Rainfall rates up to 1.5 inches, maybe even a little bit more. So could have some excess water on the roadways here for a little bit. So give it some extra time to allow the street drains to catch back up. May have to watch out for that if you're on the M15 corridor there from Vasir over to Otisville. Watch out for some ponding there on the roadways.
Going to watch an area here. We mentioned it a few minutes ago, but looking at the CASIT, the Canadian radar here, there's an area we're going to be concerned about. That is the wrong tool, Ryan. That's the third time I've done that. Near the Clifford area, in this area of the storm. It's on the right side of the storm here, typically for rotation. And when I switch this over to the velocity side of things, it looks like there could be a little something over by the Clifford area. But again, we're still thousands of feet in the atmosphere, so it's hard to tell for sure. But it does line up with reflectivity, what could be some rotation there in the Clifford area here. Where these brighter greens and kind of darker greens are kind of meeting together. If that is, it's heading pretty much right for our Deerfield Township fire cam, courtesy of Tim Reinhardt. That general area, at least. And that's, look at the camera now. I don't see much of concern, but this may have a good look at things here soon. We'll see. I think the camera in Lapeer may have a better look at things once it gets closer as it faces to the north. This camera faces southwest. It depends on how far south that storm tracks, but we'll have a look at it here pretty soon. Either way, we're kind of on our guard here too, just because with the radar down, we know we're not gonna see rotation on radar very well. So if we see just the slightest hint of it, we're gonna call it out today because our data is not as complete as what it usually is, which is unfortunate.
And new special weather statement was issued for just areas just to southeast of Cassopolis, far southern Michigan, south of Three Rivers. But it looks like the strongest winds, though, are moving across state line and into Indiana. That is winds up to 50 miles per hour.
Really? I would have thought they would have went like
Does
30 or
include
40
the
on that.
Montville area, Constantine, as well as Simonton Lake in Indiana.
You got White Pigeon in there, just stop short of Sturgis. This should miss Sturgis off to the south here, depending on how far south it tracks, but not severe, but they say it's close.
Could have some gusty winds.
Yeah, radar doesn't really indicate near severe winds are occurring there, but the Weather Service did went ahead and statement it for 50, so. The radar beam
The good news
height-
is, though, Ryan, I would almost have to say the Lapeer cell appears to be weakening quite a bit and may even be. It's hard to say definitively just with how high we are looking at these storms, but at least on reflectivity, definitely not as well organized as what we were looking at maybe 10 to 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, just for reference, point of reference here too, Caleb. The Grand Rapids to Marlette cell is 14,000 feet. The Grand Rapids to Millington radar is 10,500 feet. The CASIT radar is going to be our best bet going forward here, as the beam height is a few thousand feet, or yeah,
Yeah, especially as it keeps moving off to the southeast, we just get farther and farther away from that radar.
Yep.
Could have some gusty winds coming into the Marlette area though. M53.
A new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued.
I'm a little bit surprised.
Yeah, a little bit with how isolated this event is so far. We may still see more additional development later on this evening, but at least for right now, I'd expect this to remain pretty scattered in nature, at least storm coverage wise.
And that is a watch. It includes basically from Kalamazoo to Lansing up to Flint, up to the Thumb region, down to about Three Rivers, Coldwater, over to Monroe, Detroit
All
area.
of northern Indiana and all of northwest Ohio as well. Does not include Berrien County, though.
Or Cass.
Or Cass County.
Yep. So interesting. I'll have that graphic posted to the page here shortly. I'm going to copy it in right now. Caleb, do you have the generation, the website for the warnings pulled up or no?
I'm pulling it up right now. I'm going to see if it generates for me.
If not, I can get you on your PC.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and say, I'll send you the link here in Discord. But I got that watch posted. It's on the page to you guys who want a visual of where that watch currently is. Max wind.
I don't know if PC would do much good for me though at the moment.
Okay. Max wind 65, max hail 1.5. So ping pong ball size hail, wind gust up to 65. It includes the counties. I'm gonna read off the counties here. There's not a lot. There's enough, but there's not too many. So listen closely for your county. Branch, Calhoun, Eaton, Genesee, Hillsdale, Ingham, Jackson, Kalamazoo, Lapeer, Lenawee, Livingston, Macomb, Monroe, Oakland, St. Clair, St. Joseph, Sanilac, Shiawassee, Washtenaw, and Wayne counties until 8 p.m. tonight. The text of that watch, it says isolated hail up to ping pong ball size possible, scattered gusts to 65 mile per hour possible. They did not mention a couple tornadoes, which is interesting. The environment today is not largely supportive of rotation, but if you get like a lake breeze or an outflow boundary, I would not be shocked to see a storm try to at least rotate a little bit. I think we're already kind of seeing that today, but I don't think the threat is high there for tornadoes. I'm just a little surprised not to see that mentioned in the text of the watch. And again, so far, as Caleb and I have been alluding to here, the coverage of these storms is also in question here too. That watch goes all the way down to Lansing and Kalamazoo. But overall, the radar for the most part here is clear.
It is not working on mobile, Ryan.
Okay, I got you. So the radar down here is pretty much clear, except for these little blips here up by the Owasso area. But otherwise, if we don't see any more development here, we may not see storms in the south part of the state here in the Jackson, Ann Arbor areas, Lansing. Let's kind of wait and see. Right now, it's a wait and see game. But for the time being, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect here for Lapeer County, 60 mile per hour winds, and a possible tornado is the hazard here. The storm has been weakening here, but that storm out ahead of it's also strengthening now too, Caleb. Interesting, kind of like a split situation, it almost seems like.
Some of the strongest velo, though, at least on the cast of the Canadian radar, over 24, maybe even a little bit of clear air. It's kind of misaligned between where the core of the storm is currently located at.
That's what I'm seeing too, Caleb. I think
but a little bit of maybe a downburst near the Marlette area, just east of 53. That area lines up a little bit better with radar.
Yep. Also got the weather camera pulled up here. Still watching it roll in. This is going to be, again, 3-dimensional services group in Lapeer. Many of you know the camera here as the Ladeer camera, infamous for the deer. It brings in at night, but in the meantime, it has a really good look at things here in terms of that storm passing through, but nothing of note just yet. I'll hop back over here to the Deerfield Township fire cam as well. Not much to note there either. Taking a peek across most of our Southeast Michigan cameras. There's just not a lot happening so far on these cameras. We'll go back here to
Cells
Lapeer.
still trying to fire just north of St. John's, north of Lansing, along over 127.
Yeah, I've been trying for a little while there. Looks they're getting a little more organized.
Not super impressive, but still hanging out. Maybe right on the cold front itself.
Yeah, they're trying to get going. I'm just going to stick to the Cassett radar over here and call it good.
Yeah, it's really the best look that we have at the moment.
The unfortunate part about Canadian radars as well, I got to think about this too. The updates to the scans, they're about 6 to 7 minutes apart, if not longer. We wait almost 10 minutes for new scans off of the radars from Canada. So there's going to be a lot of, I'm not going to say dead air, but a lot of downtime here. We're just kind of twiddling our thumbs, waiting for new data to kind of come in. So I'm going to cycle through some of our chasers here, make sure I'm not missing anybody. I know Mike is out and about. Yeah, Mike is actually live with us here. I'll go through Ben's there. Hey, Caleb, you're not live. Why aren't you chasing? Chandler, got Clayton, Drew, Evan, Freddie. Just kind of cycle through here. We got Mike to pull in. I think Tyler might be going out here later as well. I don't believe any Indiana Chasers are going out. So we'll go ahead and pull Tyler in here. Not full screen, but get him up in the top left with Ben. There we go. There we go. Looks like a perhaps tail cloud developing here on the Lapeer cam. I'll try and zoom in here, but it lets me. There we go. Yeah, a bit of a tail cloud.
Shelf cloud there.
The warning was just trimmed, and they continued it for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a tornado possible on it. See a lot of questions here in chat, admittedly so, about the app coming out. And yes, it is still coming out. We are being delayed. It is out of our hands at this point. But again, we keep saying soon, any day. We're just kind of waiting for the last final approvals and stuff like that, and we'll be good to go soon. But we're kind of in a wait and see game at this point. But we're ready to release it. We just gotta wait on a few last minute, legal stuff and requirements and stuff like that. So it's close, guys. It's close. Yes, a severe thunderstorm watch is in effect for pretty much all of Southeast Michigan, minus the Bad Axe area, for example. In fact, can I pull on a screen here? Let's see if I can't pull the watch on the screen. Give me a second here. There we go. So there is your watch currently. The mustard yellow counties are where that watch is at. So it excludes Cass and Berrien, Van Buren, Allegan, and Berry County. It does include Kalamazoo. It does include Eaton. It does include Ingham. It does include Shiawassee and Genesee. Does not include Tuscola, Saginaw, or Bay County. Does not include Huron County. It does include Sanilac, St. Clair, Macomb, Oakland, Lapeer, and Genesee. All the way down to Detroit, Ann Arbor, Adrian, Coldwater areas, that mustard yellow color is the watch. Alert corrected. I'm confused. Were they correct? It's not a new warning. It has corrected it.
It's just got trimmed back.
They trimmed it back. They also... What are we doing?
Dropped the tornado possible tag on it, leaving it 60 and penny.
That's weird. They just did an update 3 minutes ago. So I don't understand what they did, but they dropped the Tor possible tag, which is great news. 60-mile-per-hour winds continues. Also, watching that weather camera closely, it looks like I can't tell if it's a tail,
nice
shelf, or it's on the back end of the storm here too, Caleb. So I'm kind of like, is this a mezzo or what's going on with this? Kind of has a look to it, but it looks like it's also like a shelf.
Looks kind of laminar in nature.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you there. I'm not sure what Detroit's doing with that. I've never had an alert come through as a new warning that pops up on our warning bar as corrected. That's a new one for me. But rest assured, there's no new warnings issued. It was just a correction. They dropped the Tor possible tag on it, which is great news. So, in the meantime,
Almost like they canceled it and then reissued it.
yeah, it kind of seems like that. Do we see any deer? I don't see any deer.
the Deerless cam.
Let's go ahead and check out the Deerfield Township fire cam. See if anything new's happening there. Oh yeah, heavy rain. Heavy rain. Doesn't look windy though. This would be on the northern edge of that microburst signature under Radar Caleb. It's in the clear air slot, but if there was any wind happening, it'd be right here at the camera, which it appears there's not. So I think that's pretty safe to say that this is not. It could be gusty in some spots, but definitely not
widespread at the moment.
Yeah, not widespread at all.
So some good news there. These storms are also not super organized at the moment either. They're very loosely organized in the Thumb region.
Those cells near the Oakley area, Eureka area, are continuing to slowly grow. New statement coming in for St. Clair County. It's going to extend to one down here for Brockway, Yale, Capac, and Lakeport areas. We'll see what they do with this one. 40-mile-per-hour winds and half-inch hail. You'll see the new box pop on your screen here, basically just for the southern part of the county here. Brockway, Yale, Ruby, Lakeport, Capac, and Emmett areas. 40-mile-per-hour winds and half-inch hail. More storms have developed down here across southern Berry and southern Cass counties. Again, there's no severe weather happening down in this area, but it could be some pretty hefty rain going on here, as this area storms is like kind of training, kind of not training. It's got some soft movement to it, but some areas have been impacted already by some heavier rain, so we'll see. But heavy rains are your primary concern here. I don't see anything here that warrants concern for severe weather. Perhaps some gusty winds by the Three Oaks area, but other than that, nothing really catching my eye here. For those of you watching out ahead of these storms down by Detroit, Ann Arbor, Jackson, Lansing areas, it's hard to say what's going to happen here. Coverage right now of storms is fairly isolated in nature. We're not really sure if there's going to be more development or if this is going to remain what we get. So I can't really answer you guys. I will say there is a severe threat through the evening hours. So if you have a storm, it has potential to be strong to severe. But I think our confidence in terms of how widespread that coverage of storms is definitely on the low end of things today. We'll see what happens. Models have not been consistent, so it's kind of hard to say. There's your new statement coming in, that tan box here, Port Huron included. Emmett, Capac, Brockway, Yale, Lakeport, Ruby. For this cell here, located near Peck and Melvin. Brown City, moving to the east-southeast here. Next up will be Yale and Brockway areas along M19. You know, Caleb, I'm going to say this as a prediction. They may drop this warning early. I don't see much happening here. Check the outage map before I say too much else. There's no outages coming in from these as well. They may, and the warning continues for 41 more minutes. They may just decide to drop this entirely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they, maybe drop it, replace it with a special weather statement. But looking at the cams, the outage map, really not a significant amount of indication, or at least confidence of winds greater than 58 miles per hour occurring here, which is good news. It may, it could always re-intensify. But but definitely more on the semi-organized versus very organized at the moment. Looking at the latest model here behind the scenes, some of our models want storms out of the state around 3 to 4 p.m., but leaving a lot of the areas in central southern Michigan, think Jackson, Lansing, Coldwater, Ann Arbor, with very isolated storms here this evening, Ryan. Kind of very reminiscent of what it looks like on radar now. Kind of leaving a gap in coverage. With storms possibly redeveloping further south later on this evening. But our risk here may be done by around dinner time here this evening.
It's gonna be one of those wait and see days because there's no clear model. That's winning.
Confidence is pretty low across the board, just with the inconsistency in models. But hopefully, best case scenario, we clear out by dinner time and we can have a wonderful weekend here across Michigan. Tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day across the state. May have some air quality issues though the further north you go. That'll remain into next week as well, early next week, but temperature-wise, it's going to feel a lot better outside.
Agreed. If you caught the daily video this morning, we actually talked about the 15-day temperatures. And the next 5 to 10 days looks gorgeous. But the European model wants to bring back hot temperatures here, about 10 to 15-day period. So we'll see if that's a trend.
It is still July. We do
it
still
is
have
July.
summertime patterns. So we'll just have to see kind of in between patterns right now. One pattern exits, another pattern redevelops. We're kind of in that in between right now. And but this in-between pattern is going to usher in some cooler air, even some cooler nights as well. A lot of the state of Michigan, maybe in the 50s, Sunday night, but also middle of next week too. Wednesday night and Thursday night looks quite cool across the state. Highs in the 70s as well.
I'm looking
So
forward
compared to 100 degrees, I can't complain about that too much.
What radar is used in these streams and how can I use it for myself? I am currently using Weatherfront, but we use a ton, and I mean a ton of radars. There's Gibson Ridge 2, there's Radar Scope, Radar Omega, WeatherWise. We're going to have our own radar software coming out soon. So there's a ton, but for broadcast style to share to you guys, I prefer this one because the city names are ginormous. You can see these pretty easily. Also, the road names on this are very easy to read here without having to squint and zoom in. So, if you're just tuning in here, we are live, been live for about an hour and a half now. We had a couple of stronger storms impact the Frankenmuth area, now moving into Lapeer. So far, we have not seen any signatures, any damage, anything like that. Caleb, are you in Messenger? If you're not, hop in there and check it out.
I'm in it.
Okay, so if there's any damage, let me know.
Yeah,
if
no
you see
damage
anything.
reports have come in yet.
Okay, so there we go. So no damage reports yet. There's no outage reports for the power. We're trending for right now, at least. I don't want to say we're going to be done, but right now, for the past hour and a half, there's been minimal impacts, which is great news here. The Lapeer cell, if you're just tuning in as well, we're kind of speculating that we're going to cancel this warning early because the warning continues for 36 more minutes. That puts it at 2:15. So right now, there's no indications of severe. So I would be inclined to at least guess they may actually expire this warning early. If they do that, we may be able to hop out of here early too. We'll see. With what's on radar currently, I don't see much of anything here to keep an eye on besides what's happening here in the thumb. And even then, I don't think, on a personal opinion, I don't think it's severe at this point. So
No, I'm definitely leaning towards it being below severe criteria. If you guys are in Lapeer, Attica, Imlay City, Goodland, let us know what your weather conditions are. Obviously, getting some heavy rain. I mean, look at the camera there. You can see the white behind the trees there. That's the rain shaft coming down. Really nice shelf cloud there. So definitely some torrential rainfall occurring here within these storms. But I'd be really inclined to know what the winds are doing, but also any hail size as well. Looking at radar here behind the scenes, I can't imagine hail is any larger than penny size. I think we're kind of in the P category, maybe some dimes or less. Not a the core of the storm doesn't look super healthy, very high. It's a very shallow core, but also what the winds are doing. We are taking samples. The KSAT radar, the Canadian radar, we really can't see anything below 8,000 feet. Canadian radar is a little bit lower. Grand Rapids radar, we're above 10,000 feet here, but we're not even seeing strong winds aloft either within this storm. And looking at some cameras here, and looking at the power outage map, there's just nothing on the outage map right now for this area. So,
Not at all.
also there's more of a shower, Ryan. There's really not a lot of lightning in this storm anymore.
Yeah, the one over by the Peck area has a few strikes.
The
by
Peck
Croswell,
area
I
has a
think.
couple cloud to ground strikes in it. I can see over by the Crosswell area, Yale, but the Lapeer cell, not a lot of lightning in it. We'll have to see how it evolves here. But yeah, I'd be curious to know what conditions you guys are seeing out there. If you can do so safely, if you do not deem it safe, don't venture out. Do remain in a sturdy structure until the storm is over. But
For sure.
the lack of damage reports and wind reports is kind of starting to tell the story a little bit here, at least at the moment.
Caleb, we're going to get a really good look at things here. This camera is about to get blasted by what appears to be the worst of it on radar. So,
Yeah, and
if
that's the
there's any
Lapeer cam, isn't it?
yeah, this is the Lapeer cam. It's situated just south and a bit west of where the Lapeer is on your map.
Okay,
So-
yeah, the core should pass directly over this camera or come pretty close.
Yep. So if there's
You
any,
can see some big fat raindrops moving in.
yeah, we're going to watch the wind here carefully. The wind is the only concern with this thunderstorm. And if it's not that strong here, that kind of tells us what we need to know. So watch those trees
Absolutely.
closely here. Looks like Ben has a couple interesting views. Ben's in Southwest Michigan. I see he's up in the top left there. He's looking at a rain shower. He says Wolcottville, Indiana is where he's at currently. And there in his stream, looks like it's elevated down there too. So heavy rain and perhaps some gusty winds appear to be the main concerns so far. Now the tree is kind of blowing around there. Still looks well below severe criteria. But it looks like 40-mile-per-hour winds is definitely where I'm placing that at.
Maybe even a little bit less than that, maybe 35.
Yeah. We'll see if it gets any worse here. Okay, this is where the worst of this is passing over. So
Definitely has some big fat raindrops to it.
yep.
Some heckin' chonkers there. Those are juicy ones. So those of you just joining, this is our weather camera in Lapeer, Michigan. As the core of the storm, the worst of the storm, at least on radar, is moving across right now or getting ready to move over the camera location. So we're getting a really good look about what the core of the storm is doing. The core of thunderstorms is where you would generally expect the worst of the weather to be in a thunderstorm. In this case, any downbursts or small hail, this is where it would be located at, would be near this camera. Looking at the winds here, though, definitely looks to be below severe criteria at this time, at least over the camera here. Kind of almost looks to be in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range. Severe criteria is 58 or greater. Granted, this is an estimate. We don't have a measurement confirmation here, but looking at the camera here and looking at the trees, just the way they're swaying, the way the wind is blowing the rain, looks to be below severe criteria there. Imlay City, you guys are up next. Along I-69. But personally, I would be surprised if they downgrade the warning here and maybe put a special weather statement on it or drop it altogether. So some good news here. Likely some scud there in the top left photo there on Ben's screen. If you're referring to those low dangly clouds there, likely just some scud clouds. Moisture being pulled up under the base of these storms. Lots of moisture out there today.
Yeah, looking at Ben's storm, there's no rotation on that at all. So it's
No.
it's for sure it's good.
Yep.
Watching those cells back by Owasso, they're just kind of there.
They're
They're
just
not
there.
really
They're just hanging
strengthening.
out. You know?
They're not really growing. I'm looking at the radar beam height. Usually you want to see storms grow 15, 18, 20,000, keep going up and up and up. This one's not. It's just kind of there. So far these storms are remaining, or I'm gonna use the word struggling. They're struggling today. There's a lot of instability. There's not a lot of wind shear support for these storms for now. So they're just kind of existing. Yeah, that storm looks like it's about to pass over entirely. We see what appears to be blue skies on the Lapeer cam. This is again courtesy of Three Dimensional Services Group. But yeah, that is blue sky here filling back in. So the worst of it is past, and the winds remain well below severe criteria here. Probably right around 40 or so, give or take a few miles per hour. Looks like the gustiest. I turned the camera to the left here, Caleb. Look what's happening. Looking at that base here on the south side of that storm now.
Yeah, really very little wind with this. I'd say 40 is kind of stretching it a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Just getting that estimate from kind of gauging the way the trees are blowing, but also the way the rain was blowing there a little bit too. Kind of in that 30 to 40 range, maybe even a little bit less too. Either way, looks to be below severe criteria, at least at the camera location. The core is almost kind of shifted a little bit to the northeast, north of the Attica area coming near the Goodland. But even looking at relative velocity, the wind movements within the core of the storm, granted we're looking above 8,000 feet, not very impressive.
Our next camera in line here is going to be an Imlay City here, Caleb, facing south, courtesy of Valley Farms. This is just getting rained here. Again, the core of the storm is going to pass over this camera. So we're going to have another look at just how strong these winds are at a different location. This is about 5 to 10 miles east of our Lapeer camera. So we're going to have a different look here, different part of the storm, but still in the heart of it. So this will give us a really good idea now if the other part of the storm is gusty. The only severe warning in the state currently is going to be in Lapeer County. That is the only county with a warning. It includes Lapeer proper, Hadley, Metamora, Dryden, Alma, Imlay City, and Attica. It does include Goodland. It does include Burnside. It does include Columbiaville, but those cities are past this storm, so no impacts are going to be felt there.
One thing to note, though, Ryan, there is quite a bit of lightning now showing up just to the northwest of Imlay City. Have some nice cloud-to-ground lightning strikes starting to show up here on the core of the storm.
If you're good to go, I'm going to have you take over for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's all you. I'll be back here in the background if you need me. Just holler.
Okay. Ryan's going to take a little bit of a break here, and I will carry you here as a storm is moving near the Imlay City area. Currently, the core of the storm just north of Attica, west of Goodland, coming up on M53. Still not showing anything super significant on relative velocity, what our winds are doing within the storm. Granted, we are looking quite high in the storm, above 8,000 feet here today. We're using the Canadian radar. For those of you just tuning in, we have a radar outage here in Michigan here today. National Weather Service in Detroit. Their radar broke. They are waiting on parts. Sounds like it may be able to get it fixed on Monday. We'll just have to see if they can get the parts in, and their technicians can work on that once they have the parts. So unfortunately, we don't have the greatest look of the storms here today, at least on the surface. We saw the storm pass over our Lapeer weather camera a few moments ago. It did look to be leaning towards below severe criteria there. Looking maybe a little bit gusty there, just southwest of Imlay City. We do have a weather cam in Imlay City. So we'll see the core of this storm move over that camera here once again here in a couple of minutes. Probably getting fairly close to that camera there. There's a live look at Imlay City. So this is looking south, so our storm will be coming from behind here just a little bit. And you can see that there just got refreshed, getting ready to come over the camera. You can see those heavy rain shafts moving over the trees there, just above the trees, above the power lines. And you can see the rain coming across the field. Heavy downpours moving across. We'll have to see what the winds are doing here within the storm. I'm not sure how the internet connection is here. Hopefully we get a decent feed here through the storm. But here's a live look in Imlay City in Lapeer County. Yeah, I was looking at that. Yeah, maybe even a little bit of a gust front, perhaps near Attica. That's a kind of an interesting signature there over I-69, kind of right in here. Looking at this area here, Newark Road, Hunters Creek Road, just south of Attica, and I-69, kind of right in here, just southeast of Greenwood Road, southeast of Lapeer. Maybe even a little bit of broad rotation aloft too. Now, granted, we are looking at about 8,000 feet, and this is very broad in nature. Nothing that I am immediately concerned about anything tornadic-wise at the moment, but could have some gusty winds trying to make their way down to the ground. At least some broad rotation. This is in the mid to upper levels of the storm, above 8,000 to 10,000 feet, so very high in the cloud aloft, but we don't know exactly what is going on below that. So if we see something, we will mention it here today in the mid-levels. Because of the inconclusive data that we have below 8,000 feet, we just don't know what's going on in the storm below that altitude because of our radar outage in Detroit, Michigan. Has been out now for a few days. They are awaiting parts for that radar, and sounds like the parts are on their way. They just don't have them yet. Hopefully they get them here this week, and their technicians can get to work on restoring that radar's operation. But the one thing with using our neighbor's radar in Canada, they don't update as fast as what our radars do here in the US. Here in the US, usually on slower scans, we update every 3 to 4 minutes. If we're using the Canadian radar, they're closer to 6 to 8 minutes. So we may have a decent gap of just looking at radar before we get an updated scan, as they move a little bit slower around there on the revolutions on the Canadian radars. So we are watching perhaps some gusty winds along I-69 there in Lapeer County. Probably some gusty winds getting ready to come into our Imlay City camera. There it is there. You can see the core of the storm just passing right next to the camera here. Just torrential rainfall in the field. Look at how, look at the trees on the very left of the camera above the semi-truck cab there. Just right up the road, you can see the white wall of rain. That is the core of the storm. Quite torrential rainfall occurring there on that storm. See a very heavy core of rain there. Doesn't look like it's too windy here at this camera location at the moment, although the core of the storm is not quite over the camera yet. It is just off to the west. This storm is still moving quite slow, only moving east-southeast at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So very slow-moving storms here today across the state of Michigan. And we are still awaiting our next radar scan from the CASIC radar, our Canadian radar. Looking across the state of Michigan here today, only a few scattered storms. Our storms that were in Berrien County, Cass County, in the Sturgis area are now moving south into Indiana. Still a little bit of a torrential downpour near the New Buffalo area in Berrien County along I-94. Special marine warning in effect there offshore for the Indiana side as these storms move into Michigan City. But these storms are moving south away from Michigan, which is good news. Our cold front is currently draped up here from Saginaw to Grand Rapids, moving south and southeast at about 30 miles per hour, and that's triggering our thunderstorms here today. Looking across the state, just a few scattered storms still hanging out along the Owasso area, as well as Flushing, Flint, Schwartz Creek. Just a few scattered storms, but very unimpressive on radar. Just kind of meandering around, some heavy downpours perhaps with these. And from Kalamazoo to Lansing to Jackson, just a few scattered pop-ups are really expected the remainder of the evening. It's kind of unclear on what storm coverage will look like in this area later on this evening as the cold front pushes south. Models aren't generally super clear as to what to expect in this area. We do have the ingredients for storms, and some of them could be strong to severe today. But widespread severe weather is not expected, but we could still have a few storms perhaps reaching severe criteria, and we've seen that a couple times here this evening. There's the next scan, the core of the storm getting ready to come directly over Imlay City. You can see the pinks there, some torrential rainfall, just kind of splitting Attica and Imlay City right now, with some gustier winds perhaps in the core of the storm coming over Imlay City right about now. We do have our camera in Imlay City, and there's a live look at it there. Maybe we can get it refreshed there. I think that's an older image there. Maybe the internet is not the best there, kind of in a rural area there. So it looks like the storm is going to skirt right next to our camera here, kind of on the north side of the storm. So not quite a direct hit here, but you can see the view there of that rain shaft coming down as the storm moves over Imlay City. Imlay City getting some torrential rainfall right now, heavy downpours. If you're traveling on I-69 between Capic and Imlay City and Attica, do watch out for some ponding on the roadways there in Lapeer County.
Kira in chat says hail in Imlay. How large? Let us know how large it is. It doesn't really help us to say hail. It does, but having a size with that would be a lot more beneficial.
Yeah, give us like a point of reference, like something that has a fixed size or radius, such as change. Coins are really good references. They have a set size, quarter size is severe, that's 1 inch diameter or greater, or something as a point of reference.
Caleb, they went ahead and added two updates here. The hail size in this is now ping pong ball, according to DTX, and now there's also a tag in it for a possible tornado.
Interesting.
Taking back the radar here, I'll pull up GR2 while I'm at it.
Just out of range for the TDR.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what they're seeing that we're not seeing here. Looking
Yeah,
at
I don't really see a lot of.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
core
see.
around this is under 25,000 feet, so I'm not sure what they're seeing. They got a report, perhaps. What's the? Is this observed? No, radar indicated. Huh.
Yeah, if you're watching from Imlay City, let us know what your hail size is. I'd be curious to see that.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at the camera and such, I mean, it looks like just a heavy thunderstorm here. Doesn't look organized, visually speaking, at least.
Yeah.
Our next camera.
Inconclusive data.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part about being kind of blind with Detroit's radar being down.
Yeah, if you guys have any damage reports or anything like that, and you want to send it in to us, feel free to do that. Just we ask that you try to include your time, event, location, the time it occurred, where it occurred, and what occurred. Was it damaging winds, hail? Feel free to let us know. Always great to see those reports if you can do so safely, especially today, as we just don't have the radar coverage in southeast lower Michigan, with DTX being down for the time being. Parts are ordered. We are just they're just waiting on those parts to come in for their technicians to work on that radar and get it back operational. Hopefully by next week it'll be up and running once again. But that does limit us on how much data we're able to see near the surface of these storms below 8 to 10,000 feet. A little more tricky today. We just don't have that data available. So the radar on your screen is rain that is falling currently at 8,000 feet and on its way to the ground, but just not quite there yet. Also, quite a bit of lightning around Imlay City. A lot more cloud-to-ground lightning strikes popping up on radar. So quite a noisy thunderstorm if you're in the Imlay City area in southeast Lapeer County. And Dryden, too.
We also have one of our newest cameras here, courtesy of Serpro. Got it pulled up here, I believe. It's going to be just west of Port Huron. I do have it pulled up. This is going to be the cell that's statemented, not warned, heading into the Port Huron area. I do believe, looking at this storm, it's probably going to it's going to hit you guys in Port Huron, but the worst of it may go off to the south. I got you, Julie. I'm not sure why, but I got you. I didn't change any of my settings, but apparently I'm quiet, and yeah, it looks quiet on my end here too. So I'm already running my microphone at 200%. Let's go to 400. Test 1, 2. That should be better.
Sounds a little better on my end.
I'll go to 500. Test 1, 2. It's still not peaking. 600%. Test 1, 2. There we go. We're peaking now. This should be the sweet spot for you guys. But anyway, Port Huron.
There's Ryan.
You couldn't hear me yourself?
Well, I could hear you, but you were quieter. You're a lot better now.
I am so confused. But this is a new camera just west of Port Huron in the Kimball area. This is going to be a direct impact on the camera here. And so far, the winds have been sub-severe. We'll keep a close eye on this here. Back to the radar I want to go, though. The warning here is for ping pong ball size hail between Almont and Imlay City here. Over I-69 and M53. There's also a tag on it for a possible tornado.
I don't really see much in the way of rotation within this cell either. It's kind of inconclusive on data there.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a interesting signature there, but it's also aligned with the hail core too. So
it is.
It's just, Caleb uses a term that I like to use in situations like this: inconclusive. We have, some data that's like, it kind of leans that way, but other data is kind of like, it leans the other way. So it's just kind of like, what's going on here? You see some reds and greens here on the radar, but it lines up perfectly with that hail core. That
I'd
tells
almost
me
have
it
to
also
leave
could
maybe
be
a microburst or a downburst with that, just the way it's oriented with the radar versus just looking at how it's aligned with the core of the storm. That's the downdraft of the storm versus the updraft, which would lead me to conclude that it's more of a downburst versus an updraft. But with the lack of wind shear out there today, our updrafts aren't tilted all that much either. So they're right next to each other. But the storm is also, the core of the storm is still not that overly tall either. We're looking at the upper 2/3 of the storm just with its current heights and where the radar is at as well. There's a live look there at the core. Looks
pretty gusty here.
Winds maybe about 30 miles per hour there or so, maybe 20 to 25, 30. Not super windy there, but gusty. Maybe some small leaves could be blown down or some small sticks. But torrential rainfall more than anything, though. That is a juicy sucker. Gully washer, as we call it.
I think that's the first time that word has been said on MSC Livestream.
Which one?
Gully washer.
Gully washer? Yeah.
I don't believe Joel and I've ever used that term.
So downstream severe thunderstorm warning goes now to the Canadian border. 60-mile-per-hour winds, as well as still ping pong ball size hail. So we'll have to see if we've seen any hail on that cam as it moves over.
Yeah, so far there is some wind out there in front of it, but I don't see
Yeah.
any hail bouncing off the roof yet.
Not yet. Still maybe a little bit out. Storm motion on this. So still moving southeast, 30 to 35 miles per hour. And this is for southeastern Lapeer County still, as well as northern Macomb County and St. Clair County are now added in the severe thunderstorm warning until 3:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It does include the Memphis area, Richmond, Columbus, all under a severe thunderstorm warning. Also includes Port Huron as well, St. Clair, also under a severe thunderstorm warning. If you're in Warren or Detroit, currently not under a severe thunderstorm warning. This is well off to your north.
Look at that camera here in the Port Huron area. It is getting a little bit gustier here, and the rain is getting really hard. So I'm guessing probably between 30 and 40 mile per hour winds at the peak of this. Still doesn't look severe to me.
And that storm is just north of Kimball, south of Ruby, kind of over Ruby, with the core of the storm moving over I-69 and coming up on the I-94-69 corridor interchange there just to the west of Port Huron, north of Marysville. So coming up there on the Michigan-Canada line there, right on the river.
Yeah, this camera is getting hit pretty hard. In fact, it just lost it.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened there.
Torrential rainfall nonetheless. So if you're on I-69 from Emmett to Port Huron, do take it down, slow down a little bit, increase your traveling distance, your following distance a little bit, maybe to 6 or 10 seconds behind versus 3, just to allow for greater stopping distance. There could be quite a bit of water on the roadway there. Very heavy rainfall rates associated with these storms, over 1.5 inches per hour. That can lead to ponding on area roadways. Still kind of an interesting signature there, but we're waiting on the next scan. The radars in Canada do not update scans as frequently as what our radars do in the United States. Ours typically update 3 to 4 minutes on a typical day. Canada closer to 6 to 7 minutes. So we're a little bit, about 2 to 3 minutes of extra wait time of waiting on the next scans to come in today. Unfortunately, good news is though, we've heard parts are ordered for the Detroit radar. They're just not in yet. So as soon as they had them, their technicians can go to work in getting that radar site back operational.
Those cells Wes have been watching in the Owasso area just impacted Owasso. Also over here, a couple popping up by the Mount Morris and Davison areas. Again, they're just what appear to be garden variety in nature. Nothing here that screams these are strong to severe at the current time. The velocity seems pretty weak on them. Could again be some gusty winds within them with downbursts with a lot of decape today. But nothing there on radar that stands out to me that much. The GR2 software continues to show a hail core on this current cell we're tracking in over Almont. It's warned for ping pong ball size hail. I've yet to see reports of that. If you guys are being impacted by that, please let us know if you can do so safely. But the hail core on this only goes up to about 20 to 23,000 feet, which typically speaking isn't really what I would assume for ping pong ball size hail. So we're kind of curious just how large it is. If there is a hail core, radar shows it over Almont Road, Dryden Road, Glover Road, about to cross Howe Road, Boardman Road. Looks like we have Mackey Road on there, Cochrane Road, Scotch Settlement Road, and Edgar Court. Just south of K-Pac, southwest of Emmett, heading toward Armada, Richmond, and Romeo areas, and eventually toward New Haven.
Yeah, still no hail reports or any kind of storm reports coming in behind the scenes. So,
and just like that, the Port Huron camera here, courtesy of Serpro, all's quiet. It's crazy. That new warning, I think Caleb mentioned it, popped in here. It's going to be for northern Macomb, southern St. Clair.
And there we go, Ryan. We actually have our first hail report in the comments. And It's not ping pong ball size hail. It's actually between nickel and quarter size,
Perfect.
and that is from Imlay City.
Perfect. So the new warning in effect here for 60-mile-per-hour winds and ping pong ball size hail includes Armada, Richmond, Romeo, New Haven, Macomb Township, Chesterfield, Charter Township, Casco, Marine City, St. Clair, Marysville, as well as Port Huron. But Port Huron currently having the worst of it. Listen at the camera here, just west of Port Huron is dry, or is sprinkling at least. So perhaps that is a letting up there in town there. But for the most part, downstream areas, Richmond, Armada, Marine City, and New Baltimore areas would be where that's currently at.
But if you guys have any other hail reports, feel free to send them in to us if you can. Trying to have like a fixed object next to it for a point of reference, such as like a coin, or a ruler or a caliper. Always great points of references there, kind of a fixed point of reference, and the time it occurred as well, also very important. But love to see your reports. If you have any damage, feel free to send that in to us as well. Just ask that you also include the time, event, location, the time it occurred, where it occurred, and what occurred. Was it hail? Was it flooding? You know, a little bit of background information on, and we can pass that along to NWS if need be. Storm motions today still very slow, only moving southeast at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. This is our likely going to see, once this moves out of Lapeer County, likely see that warning trim back here pretty soon. Storm's going to be moving into Macomb County here pretty soon, as well as St. Clair County, also included in this severe thunderstorm warning. Currently, the storm that is currently warned for is not the leading storm to my knowledge. I believe they are warning the storm currently in Lapeer County, near the Dryden area and Almont area. I'm going to be moving towards the Memphis area, as well as Richmond and Columbus, northern Macomb County.
Caleb, the rotation on that is interesting. The velocity, should I say. It's been there for
It
two
is,
scans
but it
now.
also lines up with the core. So again,
It's
just
so weird.
inconclusive. But we have to take in consideration, Ryan, though we're on a base tilt, we are still looking in the mid-levels of the storm, the upper 2/3 of the storm with its cloud heights. So we're looking at about 8,000 to 10,000 feet in the air. So we are still looking in the mid-levels. So take that with what you will. But just, yeah, inconclusive is really the best answer I can give you there. It is interesting, but...
If it was to be rotation, it's going to be passing just east of Almont, right along Mackey Road and Almont Road. If I'm looking at this correctly, Caleb, this also, I'm trying to see here. It's just so difficult to see this far up in the atmosphere. It's a challenge.
Yeah, it really is. But I haven't seen any hail reports in the comments larger than perhaps floating with nickel and quarter out of that cell, and that was from Imlay City about 10 minutes ago. And that was probably closer to nickel size versus quarter size on that hail report there. That'd be about 0.88 for reference. This is warned for 1.5 ping pong ball size hail. So I'd be really curious to know what hail reports are in the storm to see if they are truly reaching that size. I'm leaning towards closer to quarter, but you never know. There could be some larger stones mixing in, at least looking at the updraft height and intensity within the storm. Again, inconclusive, but I am curious to know what hail sizes are at least truly making their way down to the ground. There could be some melting aloft as well. So what they form at may not be what they fall at.
New scan coming in here, Caleb. Continues. I'm kind of inclined to say that's rotation.
Yeah, a
It's,
little bit. Kind of a noted, like maybe even a little bit of an outflow boundary there, sagging south along 53. Has a little bit of a tail on it. But inconclusive. You're going to hear that word a lot tonight. Unfortunately, we like to be a little bit more conclusive, but with the radar availability and the tools that we have, we're very limited today in this part of the state. One thing that is conclusive and not inconclusive is the amount of lightning strikes near the Almond area and south of I-69. There are a lot of lightning strikes. Zooming in here, all of these little white dots that you see on your screen, those are all cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. Really concentrated around the core of the storm. So quite a bit of lightning. It's a noisy one out there, as well as a wet one as well. Very heavy downpours occurring within the storm. Rainfall rates exceeding 1.5 inches per hour in the core. Could lead to some ponding, perhaps. We saw how heavy it fell over our Port Huron cam just a little bit ago as this leading storm went over our camera. Torrential rainfall occurred there, and some gusty winds as well. Looking back in southeast lower Michigan, our storms that were stretched from Berrien County to the Sturgis Three Rivers area, those have sagged south into Indiana. Still a little bit of storms, perhaps extreme southern Berrien County, but most of those have moved into Indiana. For the remainder of the evening, really unclear what to expect in southwest lower Michigan and even along the I-94 corridor from Jackson westward. Kind of unclear, a little bit uncertain if we're going to see redevelopment or not. Models are a little bit back and forth on the idea of reinitiating a couple storms along the cold front or not having anything for them at all. So it's just kind of a wait and see to see if anything can develop there south of 96. Currently, the cold front is draped from about Flint, just south of Grand Rapids, and moving south at about 30 miles per hour. So we'll have to see if anything can form along that or not. Such as this storm here near the Flint area, as well as I-69, Shorts Creek, this area here, Owasso, just kind of hanging out. Sub-severe, but it's just kind of there. The storm, not really a lot of lightning in it either, more or less just a rain shower, heavy downpour near the Owasso area. Maybe some gusty winds, but below severe criteria in that location here. But look at this, the amount of lightning in the southeastern Lapeer cell is quite impressive. Quite a bit of lightning here. This is a noisy cell, and also quite a bit of lightning strikes out ahead and south of the storm as well. We call those strikes out of the blue. So there are some lightning strikes extending, 2 to 4 miles outside ahead of the storm as well. So do keep that in mind. If you hear thunder, you are technically close enough to be struck by lightning. Some of these could be some positive bolts coming off the anvil of the storm out ahead of it. Those are more powerful than our negative bolts. Typically, most cloud-to-ground lightning is negative in polarity, but you can get some positive bolts. Typically, those are really straight. They don't have a lot of fingers to them. They're just straight. And those are quite powerful in nature, so could have some positive bolts there. Have to watch out for those. Lightning doesn't make a storm severe, but it is a hazard. A good rule of thumb is when thunder roars, go indoors. If you're a baseball fan, one strike, you're out when it comes to lightning. Typically, you don't always get a second chance with lightning, so do take it seriously. Never stand out in the open or under a tall tree. Do take shelter.
I'm gonna pull up Mike here quick, get an idea where he's at. He's at Swartz Creek.
Yeah, looking at that's kind of the isolated cell just to the south of Owasso near the Durand area, just to the west of Swartz Creek. Getting ready to cross I-69 there. See some low cloud bases there. Maybe cumulus congest or some towering cumulus there. Not super impressive there, other than maybe just a downpour, just a heavy shower there is really the best term for it. Coming back to our storm exiting Lapeer County, going to be coming into northern Macomb County. Looking at just south of Capic there, Copic, just not really a clear signature. Still has a decent core on it, at least in the low levels of the storm. Wouldn't be surprised to see some hail in there Now, is it up to ping pong ball size hail as the warning states? It's possible, but I've yet to see a report of that occurring. So if you guys are watching from this area and have any hail reports, I'd be really inclined to know what the hail size is or any wind reports that you may have as well. Always appreciative. Feel free to message us and let us know. I'll be monitoring that. Love to know what reports you guys are seeing here in this area. We had one hail report out of Imlay City, and that hailstone appeared to be between nickel size and quarter size, but I've yet to see another report. So I don't know if perhaps that was on the edge of the core or if that was in the core. I have nothing else to compare it to. So at least some small hail occurring here within the storm. And that almost does look like maybe a little bit of broad rotation within that storm there, Ryan, as that couplet continues. But again, we're looking at 8 to 10,000 feet, and that's broad rotation extremely high. But what that could do is allow the storm to produce some small hail for a little bit longer yet as it moves off to the south and southeast. So very broad, nothing to me that's imminent. We are looking very high in the storm, but it is there. It is something we're watching.
Yeah, unfortunately as well, we don't have any weather cameras out ahead of this. We have one in Lake Orion, but it's facing the wrong way. So this is going to go into Canada without any eyes on it. I believe Tyler is going to be our closest bet to it, perhaps. Let's get a feel for Tyler where he's at. Pull him up here, see if his location's updated. He's in Sterling Heights. So he's closing in on that. So Tyler will have a good view on this for us here soon. Tyler, when you get close and get a visual, let us know, please.
Sounds like the sirens are sounding in Imlay City via reports. Imlay City, you are currently in the clear. This storm is well off to your south and east, as well as Quebec. You guys are good there too.
Yeah, if there's any rotation, it's going to be just to the north of Armada. It's also very hard to tell here because it does line up here on the latest scan. But at the same time, okay.
But we are probably maybe in about 30 minutes away or so from being severe clear in the state of Michigan, at least at the moment. Not too much longer here. The storm is going to head towards St. Clair County, and then it'll be off to Ontario.
That cell over in the Durant area, it still looks, I'm going to say, on the weaker side.
It's just there. It's just hanging out.
Yep.
Really, at least no cloud to ground lightning. There could be some intercloud lightning, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder, but it's more or less just a heavy downpour at this point. Some torrential rainfall occurring, and that's about it. Could be some gusty winds, but
I'm going to pull up the Burton cam and point it to the west to kind of look at it coming in. I can actually see stuff today without the smoke interfering, which is also cool.
yeah, one hail report is all we've gotten out of that cell, and it is not even close to ping pong ball size hail.
Copy. Tyler is closing in on that Armada cell. He is closing in on the Romeo New Haven area. So he's going to have a good look at this coming up here soon. Looks like Detroit has just updated the warning. That continues it for 60-mile-per-hour winds and ping pong ball size hail. Of note, Caleb, they do not have the tag on this for a possible tornado. I'm looking at the radar here. I'm trying to make this out from the Cassett radar. Rotations
Just kind of waiting on the
clockwise.
next scan to still come in. I've had the same scan now for about 4 or 5 minutes.
Right. But if you look at this, though, rotations clockwise, is it not? This could be
You think it's anticyclonic? You think?
well, look at the green. Greens are going toward the radar. Reds are going away. Okay, so it would be. I'm trying to
No,
make
it's-
this out here. It's
it's
backwards.
cyclonic.
Okay, it's backwards at the same time. I'm getting confused here looking at this.
No, it's
from 5 different
counterclockwise.
radars.
We're just using the radar to the right. Remember, we're not using DTX.
This is my mental is just getting thrown for a loop on this.
Yeah, normally for this area, the colors would be reversed because you're northeast of the radar, but in this case, they're correct because the radar is in Canada. You had me going there for a minute. I was just staring at it. I was just like,
I'm just
Huh?
like, what?
what is this guy talking about? But it's not surprised they didn't include the tag on it because, again, we're looking at super broad rotation below warning criteria at 10 to 15,000 feet. So that's just inconclusive, that word again. We'll throw it out there. Inconclusive.
Every time.
And the
Caleb
lack of
says
reports is also
inconclusive,
telling too, Ryan.
Yeah, that's
there's-
another big thing
There's,
too.
I've only seen just a small handful of reports out of these storms. And it also leads me to, I'm still a little bit surprised that they issued the severe thunderstorm watch, if I'm being honest with you, with the lack of coverage at the moment. I'm a little bit surprised on that end.
Yeah, overall, it has 47 customers in Lapeer out of power. So we're at 0. We got 47 now. That's not a lot. It's enough, but not a lot. St. Clair has 48 customers. Macomb currently has 17. So we'll see if those numbers jump. But in the meantime, yeah, definitely, if stuff's occurring, it's not going to be widespread or isn't widespread.
Yeah, I
to
just
this
got the
point.
latest scan. There's
Yeah, it broadened out. If there's
looks
anything there.
kind of meh.
Yeah.
Nice downpour coming over the Armanda area right now, coming into the Richmond area as well. Still leaving it at ping pong ball, though. That's just surprising to me. I'm not sure.
Look at the core of the storm here, Caleb. Yeah, it goes up to, goodness. Yeah, that core is not even at 20,000 feet. It's not even at 14,000 feet that I see. I am of the opinion that this is a weakening storm. It did have a core in it back when it was exiting Lapeer into Macomb and St. Clair counties, but latest couple of scans here, not
Yeah.
really impressive to me.
Not really. And that velocity signature that you were referencing in the last scan, it's kind of off to the side a little bit. It's kind of misaligned a little bit too. Perhaps inconclusive once again.
The cell in Shiawassee County, looking at the core on that does have a better core than what I'm seeing over in St. Clair County, but even that doesn't look impressive to me. Also got a camera on that.
We had a kind of a fun report here. We talked about how the temperatures would probably drop. Someone commented and said our temperature went from 87 to 68 as the cell went through in Imlay City or Imlay City.
Temperature saw a state trooper and dropped. Good old joke to use there. When
Won't
cold
last
fronts come
forever,
through.
but it probably does feel pretty nice underneath and behind these storms, definitely compared to what we've had the last couple of days. but no other hail reports have come in, or really any other damage reports either.
New statement for Shiawassee and Genesee coming in. No, hold on. Where is this at? It has not come in yet. There it is. 40 mile per hour winds and pea-size hail. Be for the cell over Durand. Heading toward Fenton, Byron, and eventually into Osceola or Osceola Township, Heartland Township area. Getting reports of some trees down in the Armada area. If you guys have pictures or reports you can relay to us, that'd be great. In fact, we do have a couple reports coming in now via IMBot here, Caleb. 3 north of Almont, thunderstorm wind damage, multiple limbs down across the area, gust estimated to 60. We also have another one coming in here. Disregard, that was only one. Only one. So we do have a report there, perhaps some limbs down in the Almont area, which is back here, just coming out of that area. Richmond's on deck.
Strong to gusty winds with the core then.
Yeah, Richmond on deck, Casco, New Haven, Chesterfield, Charter Township, New Baltimore, Marine City, and St. Clair, the towns ahead of this. There's your new statement we just talked about for the Byron, Durand, and Fenton areas. It goes over here to Tyrone Township as well, along US 23, Argentine as well. That area of interest is back on the latest scan, Caleb.
Yeah, I see that, but it's not aligned correctly. Not aligned correctly at all. It's in the core. I would have to assume it's a
I agree with
downburst.
you there. I see it. Yeah, it's displaced to the west. Yeah, that's
Yeah, the good news is it is heading towards the Canadian border. What were you saying, Ryan?
Let's say the Durand Byron cell is getting a little bit more organized now that it's pushing into the eastern part of the state. Also remember the low pressure and the wind shear is better the further east you go. So this storm is actually moving into a bit better environment as it moves to the east here. So perhaps a bit more organization. But if it follows the same trend that the other storms have gone through this afternoon, it's not going to, strengthen anything too much. At least that's our hope. New Haven is being impacted, if not right now, then shortly. Macomb Township here at 24 and 26 mile roads. Chesterfield Charter Township on deck here. As I said, Casco there. Marine City Highway over to Marine City. Also in line here, I haven't named this out yet, but Algonac. Also in the path of this storm. We're using the Canadian radar today because Detroit's is down. So it may look a little bit different for you guys, but rest assured the data here, we're close to the Canadian border, so it's actually a little bit more beneficial because we're closer to it, but still not as conclusive as what we use over here in the US side of things. Anything of note in the inbox yet?
Nothing confirmed.
Copy.
Had just another report come through of some limbs down, perhaps, um, in St. Clair County near Brockway, but other than that, that is about it. But no new reports.
Cycle through our weather cameras here, see if I can pick up anything real quick. Copy that, Tyler. Thank you. So if you're just tuning in here, zooming out, this is really the only storms in the state, really at all right now, on the east side there. If you're in Grand Rapids, Lansing, Charlotte, Kazoo, Battle Creek, Jackson, you guys are clear for the time being at least, but there's nothing on radar here, nothing really developing either. So this may just be a east, southeast side of the state event today. And even then, these storms are looking pretty, they're struggling, as I've called it before. Anything to add there, Caleb?
I don't. No new reports have come in to the page. If you guys, those of you watching, guys have any storm reports or any damage reports or even hail reports, feel free to send that in to us. Time, event, location. Pictures with a point of reference are appreciated to help us better gauge the size of those hail reports, if you guys have any. Severe thunderstorm warning still has ping pong ball size hail on it, but I am almost confident there is no ping pong balls falling right now. I'm struggling to see that right now, looking behind the scenes, Ryan, with the core barely at 23,000 feet, if that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Tyler did have a tree blocking the entire road there where he's at. Trying to refresh his camera to get a clear image, but it looks like we lost him here. So we'll keep him up in the top middle of your screen there. Top right of the chasers there, but oh, now he's back. Oh, I switched too soon apparently. There you go. take back the radar here, going back. Looks like Mike also wants a good look at things. Let's take a look at Mike here quick. He is in Fenton. We have a camera courtesy of C-Tech also in the Fenton area. Get that queued up and ready just in case. If you're good, Kayla, I'm gonna probably get out here and grab my my lunch here in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
C-Tech is good to go. Just let me know when you're ready to go.
Yeah, whenever.
Okay, cool. I'll be back in about we'll say less than 5 minutes. You can time me.
All right, Ryan's going to take a quick breather here. So we will watch these storms here as they continue to move across southeast lower Michigan. Currently, one severe thunderstorm warning, one special weather statement. For those of you just joining in, watching a special weather statement coming into the Fenton area, winds up to 40 miles per hour. No lightning within the storm, just heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds up to 40. Still strong enough to blow some loose objects around if you're in St. Clair County. The worst of the storm is moving into southern St. Clair County, as well as off to the west near the Richmond area and northern Macomb County. And this will be sliding off near the I-94 corridor, M29, and eventually into Canada. Looking back here, the storm has weakened quite a bit on radar. Be curious to know what the winds are with this. I think that's going to be the main hazard here. The warning has 60-mile-per-hour winds and ping pong ball size hail. Personally, I don't see ping pong ball size hail falling right now. I just haven't seen the reports to justify that since the warning has been issued, actually. Did get a hail report out of Imlay City that was sent in to us of hail approaching quarter size, maybe near nickel size, 0.88 to 1 inch, somewhere in that vicinity. But that was a little while ago. Haven't had a hail report come in since. So if you guys have any hail or damage reports, feel free to send that in to us. Did have a damage report. Multiple large tree limbs down in the area. Estimated winds gusts to 60 miles per hour. And that was just to the south of Imlay City in Lapeer County, just to the east of M53. That was at 2:06 p.m. So a little bit ago. That was about 20 minutes ago or so. Actually going on 30 minutes ago. Looking here across the state, really not much going on along the 94 corridor, I-96, I-69 from Lansing, Grand Rapids. Really not a lot going on here, and some of the models have kind of hinted at this, kind of having a split day where we have storms firing in southeast lower Michigan and storms firing across southern Michigan before moving south into Indiana. And that's kind of what we have here. So really, my expectations are low for additional storms firing from Kalamazoo to Jackson to Coldwater. I just don't have high confidence in that occurring. Is it impossible? No, there could be an isolated storm or shower developing here along the cold front. Our cold front is currently draped from Flint, just south of Grand Rapids, over towards the Fenville area in Allegheny County. That's kind of where our cold front is currently. So there could still be some additional storms firing on that. But be curious to know what you guys are seeing out there. If you're in northern Macomb County or even central and southern St. Clair County, be curious to know what reports you have of what is going on within these storms, specifically hail and wind. Those are the two reports that I am most interested in right now. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised to see it be below severe criteria right now, but it may be there. We just don't have a good cross section. Again, we're looking at this storm between 8,000 and 10,000 feet in altitude. Just with the radar outage right now in this part of the state. So we don't have a good idea of what is going on near the surface, specifically in the wind department. So if you do have any reports, feel free to send that in to us. Those are very important, and we can relay those to NWS if need be. Looking at the page here behind the scenes, haven't really seen any real reports did have quite a few limbs actually. Some damage reports coming in St. Clair County. This was a little bit earlier here this afternoon, near Brockway. It looks like have some. One, two. I don't know. It just
There we
it just
go.
cut out. Hello, hello. Looks like I'm back on my end. I'm not really sure what happened there. If you guys can let me know if you guys can hear me, that'd be great. Hopefully, I'm back. Hey, there we go. There we go. Good deal. Yeah, sorry about that. Not really sure what happened there. On our end, it showed audio was still going through, but apparently it was not. So we refreshed a couple things, and bada boom, bada bang, we are back. So special weather statements being issued north of the Pontiac area, over towards the Fenton area. Winds up to 40 miles per hour, so well below severe criteria over there on those storms. Still have a severe thunderstorm warning for Macomb and St. Clair County. 60 mile per hour winds and quarter size hail. But if you guys have any damage reports, though, I don't know how much of that you heard. Be really curious. The stuff I'm looking at right now, I'd be really curious to know what the winds are doing, or any hail, if you guys have any. Roughly what size or diameter radius those hailstones are falling down to the ground. I'd be curious to know what sizes those are. Right now, looking at radar across the board, I don't see anything that indicates anything that's really larger than quarter size. Somewhere between pea size and nickel size is kind of in the department I'm favoring or leaning towards right now within these storms. Could have a few hailstones, perhaps mixing down to quarter, but I want to say right now, at least looking at the updrafts of these storms, it look to be a little bit smaller than that. But curious about the winds. If there's any microbursts or downbursts ongoing, be curious to know what is going on there. Right now, that's really what the main hazards are. Small hail and gusty winds, perhaps reaching 58 miles per hour or severe criteria. We had some wind damage reports coming in from the St. Clair County area earlier here this afternoon. Got some limbs coming down there on some trees, maybe a microburst or a downburst there. We have a lot of decape, and decape is a measurement of instability or fuel, but it's a measurement that we use to determine how easy it will be for these storms to bring stronger winds down to the ground in the form of a microburst or a downburst. And we have plenty of that out there today, so it's not surprising to see a few reports of some downbursts occurring within these storms. Which is some good news. Back down here to southern Michigan, southwest Michigan, a lot of this has really moved into northern Indiana, and it's quite unorganized, very unimpressive at all. And I'm a little bit surprised they issued the severe thunderstorm watch on it, if I'm being honest with you. But a few strong storms can't be ruled out down there. Looking down here for southern Michigan, though, especially for Lansing to Kalamazoo and points south, for example, Jackson County, Hillsdale County, looking at these areas down in here, Allegan County and south, can't rule out an isolated storm developing down in there in this area, but my confidence is low in that occurring. A lot of our guidance today was kind of split between how robust convection was actually going to be today. Some of them were bearish towards a bigger event, and some were bearish towards, a kind of a lower end event, kind of like what's playing out. And on the lower end events, some of those cams or models were signaling storms in the thumb region of Michigan, and then storms firing south of 94 moving into Indiana. And that's kind of what we've seen here so far. But these storms have just struggled. Something's lacking today, likely in the wind shear department. We just don't have a lot of it. The better wind shear is really actually in Canada and even Pennsylvania and Western New York. Over in this area here is really where we have better wind shear, and there's more storm reports of damaging storms occurring over there, which is some good news. But we are watching these storms currently, probably here a little bit longer. Wouldn't be surprised if we go severe free here in a little bit either. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be curious to know if this is at severe criteria in northern Macomb, southern St. Clair County. Looks kind of mediocre, inconclusive on radar, but we are currently just awaiting our next radar scan here. But also, if you guys have any storm reports, do let us know. But Stacy asks, any tornadoes in St. Clair? Not that we are aware of, Stace. Right now, it's leaning more towards straight line winds or a microburst, perhaps. Inconclusive, though. We don't have any confirmation of a tornado at this time, though. Nothing that's been confirmed, or nothing that we've seen, at least. This is currently our only severe thunderstorm warning in the state of Michigan for northern Macomb, southern St. Clair County. A few other storms still hanging on south of Flint near the Fenton area. Decent core on this one here near Tyrone Township, coming near Osceola Township, north of Howell along US 23. Could have some small hail in that or some gusty winds, perhaps. I'm going to see if I can see it on this radar here. Barely coming into view on the TDR. That's our terminal Doppler radar for the airport there, southwest of Detroit. You can see some brighter greens here showing up southwest of Fenton. This is the lowest view we've had on any storm all day today, for reference. We just had to wait for these storms to come in the range of that terminal radar. But could have a little bit of a downburst occurring there, just north of Osceola Township and Heartland Township as well, US 23. Could have some gusty winds there. In fact, if we take a measurement on that, see what we are looking at here. Right around 40, 45 miles per hour. Kind of right in there, right on the core of that storm on the leading edge. So gusty winds there. Special weather statement is for 40 miles per hour, and that's about what we see there in the low levels of the storm. So could have some gusty winds there coming up on 23. Unfortunately, these storms up here in Macomb and north of Pontiac are just not far enough south for that terminal radar. Have to go back to Canada's radar. Not the best interpretation there, but it's the best we got currently in the thumb region of Michigan. But haven't seen too many more damage reports coming in either, so that could be some good news here. Hopefully we'll be able to go severe clear here in a little bit as well. Just have to watch a couple of these storms here. Not super impressive at the moment. I am watching this storm here, though, just southwest of Fenton, near the Linden area, as well as Osceola Township north of Howell. Have to watch that one there. It has a decent core on it as well. This storm seems to be still hanging on just a little bit. Switching back to the TDR, or terminal Doppler radar, to look at the surface of the storm. A little bit of some gusty winds there. A little bit stronger right in here, and broadened out a little bit near Clyde Road, just north of Osceola Township and Heartland Township. But could have some gusty winds there, coming up to 23. Does look to be below severe criteria at this point in time, though, which is good news. Going back to Cassett, our Canadian Ontario radar. Not too impressive, if I'm being honest with you guys. I'm almost leaning towards these storms are all below severe criteria at the moment, which is good news. We just don't have the storm reports to back it. If you guys have any storm reports, feel free to let us know. But I'm more leaning towards being inclined that these storms are below severe criteria right now across the board, which is good news. Wouldn't entirely be surprised to see that warning get canceled or replaced with a special weather statement. But if you guys have any hail reports or wind reports current, do let us know. I would love to know what you're seeing out there, even if it's nothing at all. That's valuable information and would further confirm the hypotheses that these storms are below severe criteria. These storms are moving south and southeast at about 30 miles per hour, and in fact, I'd be more opted to incline that they've slowed down further than that, maybe 25 miles per hour. They just haven't moved a lot in the past 20 minutes or so. And honestly, Ryan, they really don't look that impressive, if I'm being honest with you. Watching the one near Fenton, that one there intrigues me the most. At least it did with the core a few minutes ago. Had maybe a microburst on it. But we also had the lowest look that we've had all day on these storms with the TDR. The airport radar there, and right in here, just north of Osceola Township, west of 23, had some winds approaching 50 miles per hour there for a brief time there. Maybe a downburst, but have since... lightened below 40 miles per hour. But
hey, Caleb, just a quick FYI, St. Clair and Lapeer County with about 1,000 customers out of power there.
Yeah, we're getting some damage reports in that area there, maybe a microburst or some straight line winds that occurred there. And we saw the winds pick up on our camera there in St. Clair County. So wouldn't be surprised if we did have a microburst out there. We were kind of talking about decape and what that ingredient was, and that's a measurement of instability, not for storm development, but the storm's ability to tap in for some stronger winds aloft and creating downdrafts. The instability needed for the storms to make it really easy for these storms to create microbursts or downbursts, straight line winds. We have quite a bit of that ingredient today, and for that reason, I'm really not surprised to see that report. Some of these thunderstorms get really heavy, and that ingredient allows the storm to collapse and really create some stronger winds down towards the ground. So likely had maybe something along those lines, perhaps. Had some people asking about a possible tornado, but no reports, or at least nothing conclusive that we've seen on that. I'm leaning more straight line winds. At least on the damage photos that I've seen, everything's kind of laid down. It looks more reminiscent of straight line winds, maybe a microburst or a downburst, perhaps. But if you guys have any damage photos, send them in. That way we can look at them, analyze them, and send them into NWS if we need to as well. Just time, event, location on that would be appreciated when submitting damage reports. That way we know where it occurred, when it occurred, and what occurred. What are we looking at? If it's not, super obvious, be sure to let us know. But my confidence is lowering in additional storms developing, though, Ryan, from, let's say Jackson, Hillsdale, Kalamazoo, those areas there.
Yeah, wouldn't be shocked to see a cancellation of that watch here shortly. Not shortly, but within an hour or two, perhaps. There's a
not
little
quite
blip.
meeting the criteria for a watch sustainability.
Yeah, we're watching a little pop-up cell just south of Perry, east of Lansing. That's about all that's trying to pop up.
Yeah, the cold front is currently draped from about Flint to Lansing over through Allegan County, and anywhere along and south of that could still see an additional shower or storm pop up, but confidence is low in that. And even lower in a severe thunderstorm. Not impossible, but lower confidence. A couple lightning strikes showing up there in northern Macomb County near M53, northeast Pontiac, so some lightning in there. But wouldn't be surprised to see that warning get canceled or just allowed to expire. It's still in effect here for another 14 minutes, but if I'm being honest with you, that I'm on board with this storm is below severe criteria. I just have not seen the reports to back it up.
Yeah, a lot of this also just could be the lack of data. They want to make sure it's warned just in case because they don't know, we don't know. But yeah, reports are important here. There's been a few outages in St. Clair and Lapeer County, but otherwise, there's just not a lot happening. I do have a amazing look here at some storms. And hold on. There we go. Courtesy of Valley Farms here. Beautiful updraft on this cell here. You can see it from a distance looking south here. Beautiful updraft. This is facing south out of Imlay City, courtesy of Valley Farms. This is in Lapeer County. Storms are about probably 15 miles away, and they are just picturesque with this updraft here. So back over to the radar here. As Caleb has been mentioning here, the warning is in effect here for 13 more minutes. However, we are both of the opinion that if there is severe weather happening, it's very localized or really not much that catches my eye here on the radar sites, period. We do have the DTW radar coming into view here as well. And even that doesn't look impressive at all.
Yeah, so that interesting though, Ryan. So that storm that we watched move through our camera in St. Clair County near Port Huron earlier.
Yep.
That storm crossed the river and actually produced quite a bit of damage in Canada.
Interesting.
We actually had a report come in from Ontario near Courtright, directly across the river from St. Clair. And there's quite a few trees down and even some power lines down in that area as well. Very reminiscent of straight line winds, though. So it looks like that downburst did continue across the river and into Canada.
That's good to know. I have to imagine we're probably nearing the end of our coverage here within next half hour or so. Is my audio? I'm peeking out a lot now. I don't get it. I mute myself and I unmute myself and my settings just change. It shows I'm blasting you guys now. So I'm gonna original setting of 200. That's way too low. Try that. That sounds better. I don't understand why it's so sensitive like that. Should be better now. Oh, well, Caleb, you weren't kidding. New special weather statement coming in for Oakland County. It's going to be for 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-size hail. Well below severe criteria. It'll pop on your screen here momentarily.
In the southern storm, or at least on the southwest, coming in um, near Highland Charter Township or Brighton Charter Township, looks to be kind of weakening a little bit as well. It's kind of shrinking on the TDR, on the
Yeah, I noticed that.
terminal radar. Not super impressive there.
That new statement should pop in here any moment. There it is. They went ahead and stated the storm that's weakening. It's over Highland and Heartland Charter Township right now, heading toward Wixom, Milford Charter Township, Commerce, Novi, and Farmington Hills there, as well as Walled Lake. We do have the Commerce Township camera, courtesy of Allcom. Anything to note in the inbox, Caleb?
Not currently, other than, yeah, basically what's been said so far. I'm going through more of you guys' comments on the page. Thank you for those of you that have sent in some reports. Much appreciated. The most damage I've seen is actually from the St. Clair area earlier here of possible microbursts or a downburst up there, which then crossed into Canada, causing some more straight line wind damage perhaps. Had a hail report from Imlay City earlier of around nickel size perhaps. Thank you for all of those reports that were sent in to us. Still kind of surprised that severe thunderstorm warning is still there.
You have to imagine they're probably just going to let it expire at this point.
I would have to imagine so.
If you are just tuning in, there is a severe thunderstorm watch that was issued for a large portion of South and Southeast Michigan. However, storms have not formed west of this current line here. So if you're over here watching from Jackson or Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, or Lansing, I think your odds that nothing happens today are quite high. I think that these storms are going to be limited to the east side of Michigan, and they're going to move into Canada here fairly quickly. And what storms have occurred today have struggled to produce severe weather on a more than just isolated basis. So I'm of the opinion that this overall threat is trending down. Let's hope that trend continues. There's one warning in effect here, and that's going to be for the northern Macomb and very far southern part of St. Clair County. Expires in just a mere 5 minutes at 3:15. So with that said, we'll have to keep a close eye if anything else wants to pop up and try to be strong here. But once this warning clears, there is nothing else that currently is on radar that catches my eye for severe weather. So once this warning is dropped, I think we're probably going to hop out of here. Caleb, I'm probably going to hop out of here and just kind of monitor behind the scenes.
Yeah, I would
because
agree.
If
Getting
anything,
some
we're severe.
reports of maybe some damage near the Fenton area or southwest of Fenton with that cell.
Okay.
Getting some reports of some trees down in the area, and maybe even a power outage.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. They're kind of flared up just west of Fenton.
Yeah, it's
just
kind of where the
south
reports are coming in at.
and near the Argentine area. So wouldn't
Getting
surprise
some
me. There,
trees
but
down in that area, or some large limbs down.
the good news though is that storm has since weakened significantly. So probably a downburst as that storm was probably collapsing. If I had to guess, that storm probably collapsed and it kind of rushed all its cool air out, and that's what caused the gusty winds. If I was a betting man, that's what I
Yeah,
would
that was my assumption as well.
If that bar in the bottom of your screen turns to gray or tan, should I say, it means we are severe clear. We are going to be clear of severe weather here in a matter of 3.5 minutes, unless they decide to issue another warning, which I don't see why they would, or I don't assume they will. But in that case, we'll be clear here in about just under 2 minutes. Oh, we're clear now. They went ahead and expired the warning. We are now in all clear mode, minus a couple statements out there. Statements are not severe weather. They're strong storms, not severe. So in the current time, we are all clear. We're going to stay on here for a few more minutes at least, just to kind of watch things for a little bit. But if you have any questions, now's your time to ask them. But we'll give it a few more minutes here, watch radar and trends, just to make sure, because the last thing I want to do is hop out and hop right back on. But Kayla and I will monitor behind the scenes as needed and jump back in as needed. But in the meantime, we are now officially all clear as they just expired that warning for St. Clair and Macomb counties. We're going to read through our trusted partners here quickly, and then we'll take some questions here in chat. And if all looks good here in about 5 minutes, we'll go ahead and roll the outro. We have trusted partners here at MSC who help keep operations rocking and rolling. They also provide services to you guys in the event you happen to need them, such as roofing, siding, construction, restoration, or other various services. You'll find out here in just a second. Starting with A-Class Construction and Restoration out of Mason County. American Arbor out of Southwest Michigan, tree sponsor there. Apex Restoration out of Grand Blanc. Battle Creek IT for any IT needs in Battle Creek area. Carlton Equipment, any Bobcat equipment rentals, sales, or parts service needs. Crystal Flash Propane across the state of Michigan. Inc. Media, digital marketing and website design. Katz Roofing and Siding out of Potterville, Michigan. Kuiper Tree Care out of the West Michigan area. McKay Tree Specialist in Southeast Michigan. Mike Kay's Roofing and Siding out of the Thumb region. On Top Roofing, Livingston County. Rainbow Restoration out of Kent County. RMHC House of Detroit. Serpro Restoration across the state of Michigan. Storm Guard Metro Detroit North for construction roofing needs there. Top Gun Roofing Exteriors out of West Michigan. Top Notch Tree Care Lansing and Jackson areas. Victor's Home Solutions out of Mount Pleasant. Rapid Radios. And lastly, Portland Federal Credit Union for any loan or banking needs across South and Central Michigan. Those are our trusted partners. Appreciate all of them helping us out here, keeping operations rolling. They're also licensed, insured, and trusted by Michiganders just like you and us to do solid work. So if you need their work, we recommend their services. And if you need help finding the right person for your area, get in contact with us or contact one of the sponsors directly if you know what you're looking for and the areas they cover. I'm looking to chat just a second, but I do want to roll through our current chasers out there. We got Ben currently in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We also got Mike Laszlo. He is going to be over in Heartland, stuck in traffic, looks like. Also got Tyler, who's up there chasing, looking at the storm rolling in. He's not actually, hold on. There we go. Oh, we're going to get the chasers off the top of the screen here so we get a better look at that. But he's got a nice, nice visual there of these storms. He's in Washington, Michigan. Looks like a nice little elevated shelf cloud perhaps there, or at very least a cloud deck. But yeah, we are all clear of severe weather here at the 3:15 p.m. Officially expired the warning in St. Clair and Macomb County. I would anticipate them issuing perhaps a statement for that storm that's currently not statemented over the Chesterfield, New Haven area.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I would expect them to issue at the very least that.
Nice shelf cloud though on Tyler's stream there.
I agree. Is K-Pack good for now? K-Pack is good. Yes, you are clear. We'll go over the radar here just a second for you guys, but we'll put
Yeah,
Tyler
the
back.
strongest storm right now is getting ready to cross I-94 in Macomb County and extreme southern St. Clair County and getting ready to move over the river into Canada. Just to the north of Lake St. Clair.
And there's your statement.
There's our statement right on cue.
Read this off here. I'm going to probably guess 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail. We'll find out in just a matter of a few seconds. It is 50-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. So they're going to go a little bit more high-end on this statement here. Again, statements are not warnings. They're a step below. And now that we're out of severe apps, Caleb, we do post those statements. I can do it, though. I know. Never mind. I just remembered you can't. So bear with me here. Get this posted. Nope, that is a severe warning. What happened? Did it download the wrong thing? There it is. All right, there's your new statement being issued for Marine City, Algonac, Casco, New Haven, Chesterfield, New Baltimore, Macomb Township, Harrison Charter Township, Clinton Charter Township, and Utica areas. 50-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. That is close to severe criteria. We'll probably wait this out, just make sure the core of this gets on the water. At that point, we will be all clear here in about probably 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to wait this out, though, for the time being. Thank you for your super chat there, Sevening, for a thank you for MSC. Appreciate you. How long will this pressure system keep the air quality fair and decent? Air quality is not decent right now. In fact, there are air quality alerts in effect through the rest of the day today as well as Sunday. And we'll likely have more smoke coming in for next week as well. So just because the smoke is gone does not mean the air quality is better. In fact, there's still a lot of particles and toxins that are in the air today, despite there not being smoke. So the answer is it never left. It never got better. Well, I lied. It did get better.
It improved, but the air quality is still not good.
Yes.
We'll have to watch trends on air quality trends based on prevailing winds, but also just the smoke may return as well behind this front and into next week. So we're just going to have to monitor that. It'll come and go as the winds allow it to do so. Winds will deviate and the smoke will deviate as well. But even though the smoke is cleared, those particulates are still kind of hanging around in the air. Even though the smoke and the smell may be gone, those particulates are still there, and that's what can be hazardous and can cause some health issues out there as well. So do always monitor your AQI depending on where you are at today. Healthy levels, I believe, Ryan, is 75 or less. And we are well over that here today across much of the state in terms of AQI.
I'm going to try and pull up a map here to share with you guys the current.
Yeah, I think Ryan will pull that up here for you.
Ultimately,
Ultimately, the worse the further north you go here today. But those numbers will fluctuate here through the weekend and into next week as well. So we may see a resurgence south into early next week. Those trends will still be monitored. Uncertainty there. as the winds may change and the particulates may change as well. It's not set in stone by any means, but we'll continue to look at that.
So the best air quality, I'll share this over here right now. Give me a second. The best air quality in the state currently is going to be down in southeast Michigan in the Detroit area. Air quality index around 50 to 60 or so is the average. The worst air quality is found up in the UP in the Keweenaw and Marquette region. I see 425 is the highest that I'm seeing here on the AQI. So it is still very hazardous up in the UP, especially north and lower is not much better. But otherwise, I'm seeing southeast Michigan as the best area to be in at the current time.
But just a few more minutes away from this storm solely being in Canada. Outside of the winds, though, the biggest threat with this storm, Ryan, is probably going to be torrential rainfall in Macomb Township, New Baltimore. Rainfall rates easily over 1.5 inches per hour here. Have to watch. Even some gusty winds moving over northern Lake St. Clair, too.
Yeah, this is going to be one
Kind
to
of an
watch here.
interesting signature there.
Yeah, I saw the exact same thing here, Caleb. The good news is it's not our problem anymore, unless you're a boat on Lake St. Clair.
Unless you're a marinist navigating Lake St. Clair.
We're going to stay live, though, until most of the storm is over water, which will be it'll be about 5 or 10 more minutes. Probably at 3:30 we'll hop out of here and call it a day. But I don't want to hop off just yet because this is still what appears to be a fairly strong storm. I don't think it's
not
severe,
weak
but
by any means, even though it is below severe criteria. Special weather statements, they're not issued for any thunderstorm. They're issued because there is a hazard, even though it's not a severe hazard. There is still a hazard. Strong winds, 40 to 50 miles per hour. It can still be dangerous at times. It can blow debris around. It can blow limbs down. So do take it seriously. We do have a special marine warning now for Lake St. Clair. 40 knots and small hail. Higher waves possible.
it's going to be this, you can barely see it, but it's a blue polygon. There you go. You can see it better there.
Those are marine warnings issued for our watercraft friends out there.
There's no water spout possible on that.
Yeah, that's what I clicked on it to see if they added a water spout possible tag on it or not. Wouldn't be surprised. But if there is one, it's not going to move towards the US. It is going to be moving towards Canada. So it'll be Ontario's water spout. Not saying that there is one, but wouldn't be entirely surprised. Lake St. Clair, by the way, is extremely warm, too. It's very warm, so a lot of moisture rising up off the lake could have some scud or a boundary influence there, so something to keep in mind. We're just a few moments away from probably being in the all clear for at least momentarily, if not through the evening. I still would not be surprised to see that watch get trimmed back or even canceled, to be honest.
Yeah, the wind in that does not look aggressive on the TDR. The MSC storm risk guidance does suggest that there is a 18% probability the storm is severe right now. This is going to be a part of the app we're going to be releasing here shortly. It tells you basically what it thinks the probability of each severe hazard is. Obviously, it's in beta testing, but that's an interesting feature that's going to come with the Pro subscription on the app, on the advanced radar. It can be used on both desktop like I'm using now, also your phone. Southwest Michigan's officially clear from the storms down there. These cells up in the Milford and Heartland Howell area continue to try to pop up, but they're not really getting much anywhere. So
No
Wait for
new
another
storm
scan or two.
reports coming in.
perfect. Wait for another scan, probably another scan after that, and call it good here. While we wait, back to the comment section here. I want to say a thank you to our moderators as well as our chasers who are out and about today. Got Tyler, Mike, Ben, our chasers. We also got our moderators. There's a lot of moderators out there. I'm probably going to miss some, but we got obviously Julie, got Hannah, Brandy, Hadley, Sarah, Aiden. We got a lot of people out there who help us out. If you're on YouTube, you see the wrench or a green symbol. They are the moderators. Yes, DTX has been down almost all week here. It'll be down until Monday at very least. We thought we were going to have a little bit of a pickle earlier because Gaylord's radar also went down due to communications error this afternoon. So we thought we were going to be down 2 radars in the state, but they got that back up. Communications error was fixed pretty quickly.
Yeah, thankfully that's more of a software issue versus a broken part, which can be fixed a little bit easier with technicians there. That's not the case with the Detroit radar. They actually have parts that are broken, so parts have to be ordered, not a software issue that you can, get your IT department on. So it takes a little bit more time. The good news is though, it sounds like the parts are ordered, and they could be here early next week. So hopefully the radar gets back up. Perhaps as early as Monday. We'll just have to. It's all up. It's kind of all hypothetical right now. When the parts come in and when their technicians are able to troubleshoot and get that back up and going. So fingers crossed.
Latest scan we had was 323. I'll wait for one more scan here, Caleb. Probably be about 332 or so before we get that scan loaded in here, but we'll let that scan load in. We'll call it a stream if nothing looks too terrible.
Yeah, right now it looks like the main core is getting or in the process of moving over the river there.
Yep.
Or coming up to the river.
It's kind of trying to backbuild just a bit, but it's not really backbuilding. Perhaps some heavy rain there, Macomb Township area, Utica coming up on you guys, Sterling Heights, Fraser areas.
Yeah, and that cold front is now south of Lansing. You can see some confluence beacons moving over Grand Rapids, and they're moving north to south. So that is some good news, some indications that the cold front is now south of Lansing, moving over Lansing right now.
That means Lansing, you're all clear. Grand Rapids, obviously all clear. Tri-Cities are all clear. Flint's all clear.
Allegan County is all clear as well.
Yeah. I would definitely say Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, you're pretty much all but clear. I think there's probably another
I'd
half
be
hour
quite
window.
Surprised if anything else developed there.
Yeah.
At this point.
The watch does go till 8 o'clock, but I'd anticipate that being canceled early, well in advance of the expiration time.
Yeah, and keep in mind the watch does extend into Indiana and Ohio, so some of that time frame was for storms down there as well. They could always trim a watch back, but
they actually
honestly
just issued
if it's just canceled early.
They just issued an update on the MD there.
Did they update an MD or issue another MD?
They updated it. I have to imagine they're probably for Ohio primarily.
It is for, basically for the storms that are ongoing now, exiting Michigan, for Ontario and Ohio, Pennsylvania, all the way to New York. So quite a long, skinny MD there.
Yeah, this is what they're concerned about really over Lake Erie, currently heading up toward Erie, Pennsylvania, and Ashtabula, Ohio. Also, kind of a broken line here, but this stuff currently in Macomb County will eventually cross into Lake St. Clair, hit Ontario, and then eventually toward Cleveland. So that will probably be Ohio's issue and Pennsylvania's issue and New York's issue, but not our issue.
Basically saying that's where they expect the severe weather risk to continue is going to be storms east of Michigan and southeast of Michigan. after these storms exit the state.
I think we're at a point here. I'm still waiting for that new scan to pop in, but looking
wait
at the
till next scan
DTW,
just to confirm, but
the terminal Doppler radar here has a good clean slice of that low level scan here, and I don't see anything with that warrants any concern at all for damaging wind here. So we'll wait until that Canadian scan rolls in. We'll roll the outro here. If need be, if there are more warnings issued, we'll hop back on and go live. In the meantime, I don't anticipate that unless something pops up and becomes strong between now and dinner time across Southeast Michigan, which is not impossible, but unlikely at this point. If that does happen, though, I'll at least be back on there. Maybe Caleb as well. We'll tag team it again. In the meantime, I think we have reached the end of our coverage here. Any second now, Cassett. Let's cue the Jeopardy music.
Reports coming in.
Good. Cue the Jeopardy music. We are now a full almost 10 minutes since the last scan here on the Canadian radar. I have the new velocity scan. There we go. Yeah, nothing.
Nothing too super impressive. Looks like some of the gustier winds are now moving over Lake St. Clair.
Yep. All right. Well, we are going to trust that Detroit NWS is not going to issue another warning here. I don't think they would. I don't see anything that would really warrant that. So with that said, one last peek at the terminal Doppler. Doesn't show anything there. So we're going to roll the outro, guys. About 3 hours, 15-minute coverage here. Thank you to Caleb for joining me today, helping me out. Thanks for watching.
Great to hang out with you.
We'll be back on here this evening if we are needed, but let's hope we aren't. Enjoy your afternoon, guys. We'll be back if need be.